And we are live. Welcome everyone to the Sunday service. Lexi, I see you there. The first person to arrive at the Sunday service. Welcome, Lexi. Of course, after PMC, after PMC and myself. Welcome, Lexi. Nice to see you. I'm so excited as well to have PMC here. I see you like, I'm here. I love this community. We love you too, Lexi. Lexi says, I am excited to see my primo today with you. Yes, guys, Lexi was our first guest in the month of June. So it's so amazing because Lexi and PMC are related. So they say, I like Lexi saying that they are, PMC and her like a bookend. So Lexi started, PMC is closing the month for us. And I couldn't have asked for any other way. Like, I'm so honored that I got to have the two of them just to close out the month of June and also start the month of June for us. So welcome to the Sunday service, everyone. To those of you who are joining, my name is Goga. I'm based in Kenya. I am hosting my brother, Proud Mixed Child, for the sixth chapter or the sixth edition of the it's not the Sunday service, but let me just say this is the chapter 6. PMC has always been collaborating with me every single year. I think we've made it a thing now that every year has to come for like a particular chapter. So today we are meeting for chapter 6, and chapter 6 in essence means that he's going to be here for. It's falling in 2026 on the 6th month of 2026, and it is chapter 6. Like, there's a lot of 6 in there. There's a lot of 6 in there. Last year we met in May, which was in 2025, and we met on the 5th month of the month of May, and it also worked. So it worked very well. Hey, JC, Calamity Jane, welcome, Jen. Nice to see you. Eva, Kika, thank you so much for the 18 months of trust. And you can see my co-host is already there, ready and waiting, excited. You can see him there looking amazing in his amazing sunglasses. I need to also wear my sunglasses or something. Let me wear my glasses because I can see the charts better. I can see the charts better when I wear my glasses. Yeah, so you can see PMC is there ready. We are ready to start this. Eva Kika, I hope you're doing well. How is your family? It's been a minute since I saw you. You must have been very busy. I hope the little one is doing well. I hope the baby is not unwell or anything, because I know when a mother disappears, she has to attend to family things. So let me see that I can get the Sunday service song, and then we have like about 3 minutes or so, and then we can start at least our chat. We have an amazing conversation with PMC. Today we're going to discuss, of course, I'm going to do a recap of all the things we have discussed like across the years. Man, it takes such an honor for me to say something like that. Like, not very, very people can say something like that. I just realized that when I was speaking that, yeah, across the years, like, yeah, we've been meeting over the years. And it's not something that I take for granted or lightly. I'm so honored that PMC has always collaborated with us, across the years. Guys, that felt powerful. That felt so good to say. That felt so good to say. So I'm going to recap what we've discussed. We've had some very amazing topics that we've discussed across the years. And that's what we are going to just unpack today. And today we just want to discuss the art of discernment. Discernment is a very powerful tool. And I think Lexi made reference to it at the beginning of the month. So when I was trying to figure out a topic that we were going to discuss with PMC, I just went and looked at all the live streams we've done with him, all the 5 of them. And it naturally made sense for us to discuss about the art of discernment. How do you choose your battles? How do you choose your people? How do you choose your spaces? How do you choose and prioritize your peace? And that is the conversation we are going to have for the next 2 hours or less, who knows. But yes, at least I know the history of PMC and I hanging out. It's always like 2 hours. That's more like it. That's more like it. It's always interesting. He's one of the most requested co-hosts at the Sunday service. And he's also had a Wednesday live stream with me where he hosted. We were discussing about why he left the YouTube Partner Program. And that was also a very beautiful discussion for those of you who missed. I think I'm just going to create for PMC's own playlist at this point so that you guys, in case you want to do a replay, you just go and click on the PMC playlist, and then you can find all the conversations that we had. Hey, Nina, welcome, Nina. Nice to see you. I see Desert Living. And guys, in case you don't have PMC and you need to connect his community, now, one of the things PMC has really scaled down his YouTube activities, and he's going to talk to you about that. He has always been planning to do that over the years. So let me see that I can share his channel. It's called Proud Mix Child. One word, like it's the only one on YouTube with that name. But of course, the handle is the Lion King. I call him the host, and I think everybody knows him as the host of the Lion's Den. The host of the Lion's Den. But if you just search for Proud Mix Child, it's a very monochrome channel. You can see the black and white theme going on there. It's very artsy in that particular sense, and it's going to talk about that. So you need to make sure that you're part of that for the conversations. You may not, it's definitely not conventional as a creator, and I think he has been on record saying this several times. But anytime you connect to him and you get to go to his space, you'll have definitely very uplifting and amazing conversations that you don't want to miss. Andrea, welcome. Nice to see you, Andrea. Thanks so much for coming in. I think I saw Nina. Nina, welcome. Nina is saying hi to Alexi, and everybody is like saying hi to each other. Thanks so much, Nina, for the 4 months of trust. And PFC is also my channel member, guys. So please make sure that you also give him like that love, and I have to make sure that I give him that acknowledgement and recognition. Yeah, he's also a member of the Green Army and one of my few mods on the chat. Yes, to be one of the few people who can discipline people on the chat. Yes, thank you so much, everyone, for popping in. Let me just turn on the music, and then I know you, and then we can now start the conversation. Simone is saying, "Hello, I come in peace." Okay, welcome. Simone, when you say I come in peace, I don't think we have any beef or anything. Like, why did you say you come in peace? I can't remember anything that has happened like in the last few days. So, like, why is she coming in peace? But welcome, Simone. I hope you're also doing well. How is your daughter today? Wrong song should be the one. Yeah, there we go. I'm trying to wait for my laptop to charge a bit. It was almost out of power and things. Um, Okay, so that is Proud Big Child. There's a poll I've put up on the chat, and in the poll I've asked you a very simple question. And I know Calamity Jane has already answered the question. Calamity has said all the above. I asked on the poll, what does discernment look like to you? Option 1, knowing when to speak. Option 2, knowing when to listen. Option 3, knowing when to leave. Option 4, knowing who to keep close. And the polls are very interesting, PMC. Let me give PMC a hint of just to know what's going on in the room. So 44% are saying discernment for them is knowing when to speak. 20% are saying discernment is knowing when to listen. 20% are saying discernment is knowing when to leave. And then 10% say discernment is knowing who to keep close. Very interesting numbers in there, and they are increasing as people are coming in. I see now knowing when to speak has gone to 50%. We have the majority there in terms of people's perception around discernment. Very interesting, and we are going to unpack that shortly. Yes, that is Proud Mixture, my brother, friend, fellow content creator all the way from Puerto Rico. Most of you have met PMC. Some of you may be meeting him for the first time because I know the community is always growing and changing. So I know some of you may not have seen him before. So in case, Nina, do you know PMC? Because I think you guys will be amazing friends. So like Nina probably has seen PMC for the first time. Simone, I think, has met PMC on chapter 5. Andrea has met PMC. Of course, Lexi, I don't even need to say anything. Lexi, I mean, that's family practically. So quite a number of you, I think, are going to be seeing. Some of you, I think, are going to be seeing for the first time. But yeah, most of you, of course, know him, and he's I think I talk about PMC a lot most of the time, even on the live stream. So I think most people are always like, who is that? Everybody knows who PMC is. So I think, but I'll read a quick biography just to introduce him, and then we can start. East African is saying PMC. PMC, look at East African, really screaming your name. We had an amazing collaboration just like, I think it was like last month, with East African and PMC. We had an amazing workout. They made me wake up so early on a Saturday morning just to work out. And it kept going on and on and on and on and on and on. Simone says, PMC looking as handsome as always. course. Taking your flowers, PMC from Simone. Um, I just remembered, just remember that joke. I will say it. I will say it loudly. Simone almost got us into trouble with Juba Bruce. God rest his soul. So I just remembered because of these nice compliments you give handsome men you see on the Sunday service. So I just remember Juba Bruce. God rest his soul. Professor Green, welcome, Professor Green. Nice to see you. Thank you so much for that. That collaboration was fire. Yes, East African PMC and I did an amazing. I think we need to. We are supposed to do another one, but East African I think has been traveling. They don't even think she's in the country today. So we need to actually figure out a second one where we, I don't know, East African just organize us and then we'll make it happen. Lexi saying, "Oh, Primo, and that amazing smile." I always like your emojis. I always love your emojis, Lexi. They're always very beautiful and nice. I like the lion. Yes, guys, lion emojis, lion emojis, lion emojis. This is the Lion King. So lion emojis like the one Lexi just did there. So in case you're like supporting a PMC and you're enjoying the conversations, drop those like lion emojis. Professor Green has already run there to the channel and said, wow, only 66 videos to like 23 subs. PMC will tell you about his growth, and PMC is very unique on how he approaches content, and I'm going to like let him speak about it shortly. Professor Green, don't move that dial. Professor Green, welcome. This is PMC, my brother. At least you're meeting him for the first time because I know we connected after chapter 5, so you may not have met him. Eva Kika is dropping those nice lion hearts. Yes, that is it. Those lion hearts drop. The lion emojis were created for days like this. Drop those lion emojis. Very important. It will show us like at least a great deal of support that we need here. And again, when you get some time, you can also connect to PMC. And he has very short videos. You'll not see a live stream there. There's a reason he keeps his live streams private. But you'll see like some of his videos, and it will give you snippets of some of the things he enjoys doing all the way out there in Puerto Rico. So that is his channel, and the host of the Lions Den. So allow me to like read a short biography to introduce him. Though he's not a stranger to this community. But let me just give a quick introduction, and then we can start our conversation with him so that we don't keep you here, guys, unnecessarily waiting. Okay? He keeps time. He was here on time as a guest, typical PMC. He always keeps time, and he's ready for this conversation. We've been ready for like 1 month since we like planned to do this, and it's been a very interesting month of just like learning about the power of reset. It's been a very powerful month just to like take stock of what the year has been so far. And I couldn't have asked for a better guest to come and close for us the month of June. This is the final guest for the month of June at the Sunday service, because next Sunday is going to be a new month. Next Sunday is going to be the next half of the year. We'll have started, I think, sometime this week. So this is the best guest we could have, just to make sure that we can close the first half of the year with, just to be able to like take stock of, what is it that you're dealing with right now, be it at work, be it in your like personal space, be it in your life as a content creator, and where do you need more discernment, especially as a creator, to become the best version of yourself as a creator. That is what we're going to just frame the conversation around. But of course, we'll keep it light, and we'll make sure that at least you guys don't feel like you don't feel like we are like talking. PMC and I are just talking to each other, so that you can also be part of the conversation. So allow me to read this short intro just to put things in context, and then I can give PMC a chance to say something to you guys. So let me pause this music briefly. Okay, and then there we go. Okay, hey, Surviving Men series, welcome. How are you doing, SMS? And then the rest, I'll try to catch up on the chats. Goga, you look amazing today. Let me tell you, PMC brings fashion on the Sunday service. PMC never comes like underdressed. So when I was preparing, for the Sunday service, I was like, that PMC always comes to the Sunday service like overdressed and looking amazing. I made sure that my fashion choices were also like at least aligned. Yeah, PMC has never come and addressed on the Sunday service. So, I had to match his energy. But thanks so much for the compliment, Nina. You can see how PMC looks good there. So I have to make sure that I match that energy because he loves how he looks. He loves like experimenting with his bling, with his sunglasses, with his outfits and his dark outfits. It's amazing. I had to make sure that I match that energy. Right. So without further ado, guys, allow me to read this quick bio and then PMC can introduce itself. For 6 conversations now, one thing has become increasingly clear. PMC, aka Proud Mixed Child, is not simply a content creator. He's a student of life who happens to create content. Away from YouTube, he's a farmer, we all know this, grounded by the rhythms of the land. On YouTube, however, he has cultivated something equally meaningful, a community built not on spectacle, but on philosophy, conversation, and human connection. In one of our chapters, we explored what happens when supporters become family, discovering that the strongest communities are built not through algorithms, but through genuine relationships that transcend geography and screens. In our second conversation, we also examined burnout, where PMC reminded us that protecting your energy is not selfish, it's necessary. And he challenged the culture of constant availability and demonstrated that choosing peace over performance sometimes is the most courageous decision you can ever make as a creator. The third chapter with PMC invited us to rethink success through his decision to step away from the YouTube Partner Program. This was a very controversial yet very necessary conversation we had. To those of you who are coming for the first time, people work so hard on YouTube to get monetized. PMC walked away from monetization willingly. He left the YouTube Partner Program. Is one of the only 2 creators who I know who left the YouTube Partner Program willingly. And rather than allowing monetization to define his identity, PMC encouraged creators to build a purpose that can outlive metrics, analytics, and changing algorithms. Our fourth conversation reflected on authenticity, the quiet confidence to remain yourself even when opinions are different. And PMC shared that integrity isn't measured by universal agreement, but by the willingness to live honestly, even when authenticity comes at a cost. And then, of course, the fifth chapter, which reflected on mental toughness. We reflected on resilience, self-discovery, and the discipline required to stay committed for the long haul. His message was very simple yet profound. Remember why you started, embrace your mistakes as teachers, and never stop learning who you are. Now, throughout these past 5 conversations, a consistent thread has emerged. Most of you notice that PMC does not present himself as someone with all the answers. Instead, he approaches life as an observer, which he has been very clear about, someone who values thoughtful reflection over quick reactions, meaningful dialogue over digital noise, and lasting principles over temporary trends. And tonight we continue that journey. This is not merely another interview with Proud Mixed Child. It is another chapter in an ongoing conversation about life, creation, community, and the wisdom we gather along the way. So whether you have been with us since chapter 1, or whether you are joining us for the very first time, welcome, and welcome to chapter 6. PMC, welcome to the Sunday service. To the people who may be seeing you for the first time, maybe we can just do a quick intro on who PMC is, and then we can get on with the conversation.
Well, if you've been following me for a minute, you know I don't like to really extend an intro. If
I
you
know.
like what you hear, if you like my philosophy, I'm just a messenger. That's how I fancy myself at this point in this YouTube journey. So I'm excited to get into this and see what we're gonna get into. So hopefully you guys decide to connect and we just get to exchange understanding each other. So I'm excited for this. Thanks for having me.
I love that. I love that. I love that. And yeah, you're getting your compliments. East African says you're looking demure, of course. And there are a lot of nice compliments coming in on the chat. The last time we met was last year. And you are always a man on transition. I'm going to ask just like a few questions here, and this is going to like feel like a game before we get into the hard stuff. Um, I'm going to like just say a few words, and then when I say that word, just tell me what comes to mind or the first thought that comes to mind when you hear that word. I'll play around with about 5 of them. So let me start with the first one. Peace.
Prosperity.
Interesting. Prosperity. I love that. Home.
Sanctuary.
Sanctuary. Ooh, I love that. I love that, PMC. That's a powerful one. Legacy.
Iconography.
Say that again. I missed it.
Iconography. Iconic. Iconography.
Iconography. Wow. Icon. Happiness.
Hope.
Hope. And the final one will be what you're going to discuss: discernment.
Freedom.
Freedom. I love that. Very, very powerful. Very powerful. Like words just to like set us up for for an amazing conversation. PMC, what has life been like, especially since chapter 5? Like on the channel, your content direction. What's been going on in the in the Proud Mixture, the Lion King empire?
Tug of war trying to find peace.
Nice. How is the experience like for you, especially as a creator, like navigating just that tug of, just that tug of war trying to find peace? What does it like make you feel as a creator? Like, is it like workflow? Is it like expected? Is it like a surprise? Is it part of like growth or evolution?
It's a part of growth. The farmer thing always coincides with how I approach this because I've explained, especially at this point in my journey, that quality isn't always attached to growth. Sometimes you have to get rid of some weeds in order to see that prosperity I'm talking about. And if that references people, it's never about disrespecting or labeling nobody. I've learned, some of the closest people you believe are with your journey and for your cause are not. And for me, I've always said, especially now, I'm in a place to say that losing subscribers is a blessing to me. It's gaining because sometimes what you believe is with you is only hurting you. And you have to cut ties with that. If it means you want to see the promise that you pursue. And I've learned that, with this journey. And I'm thankful that I've lost some support just because it's helped me see clearer what I didn't notice before. And benefit of the doubt is something that can come back to haunt you later when you give it to the wrong people. So I've learned that.
All right. And guys, if you have any question you want to ask PMC, feel free to drop it on the chat. One of the things with PMC is very brilliant. So whatever question you think that may be out of, it may be like, it may be like maybe out of like context or anything, he's going to like bring like that aspect of, he'll make you, at least he'll give you an answer that, of course, it may not satisfy you, but it will be an answer either way, because he loves these conversations, very philosophical, anchoring, thoughts around, whatever it is that you want to like, ask today, whatever it is that you're feeling like today, feel free to drop it on the chat. And especially as a creator, make sure that you like drop it on the chat, and then we'll try as much as we can to make sure that at least you guys don't miss out on that. I like what you said about how you've like, it's also been like a learning experience, and you losing some people along the way. But before we got to we get to this before we get to this kind of conversations and also transition, the channel has also been growing, and for you, growth. I like your version of growth. For you, your growth, you never chase the usual metrics that all of us are always like running to chase. The channel has also grown, and I think even when you hit your 20K, it was quite a huge surprise, but also it was like very organic in a sense. How does it feel, especially like because I know you are very deliberate and intentional on how you grow your channel, and how do you feel, especially when you see the channel growing, even sometimes when you only show up like because I know you like the farming work gets you very busy sometimes, you also take breaks off the platform, but the channel still grows. How does that feel like, especially for you?
Every time I see the numbers go up, it's a reminder to me of who got me here. Like I never take credit for growth on my
Yeah,
own because remember, it takes a team, it takes a village. So I've learned with growing, I got everybody to thank that supported my journey and still does, and that comes along with extending our audience. You're gonna gain new friends and you'll lose some. And sometimes it's not personal, but sometimes you'll part ways, but that doesn't stop the growth. So it's just a reminder. And I like to reflect on it because remember, I told you to this day, I can still reflect when it took us 1,000K plus to get our community tab. I'm getting old. We're getting old, brother. I still
I remember that exactly.
I still call the tab, the post tab, the community tab. We're getting old, go.
Oh my God, PMC, you are right. You needed to get 1,000 subscribers to have the community tab. Oh my goodness. Guys, this community tab that some of you normally just like underestimate, it took sweat to get that community tab back in the day. But the community tab is also like one of your favorite. I think it's one of your most favorite playgrounds. And I think I see more activity on your community tab, pretty much because there's always like a reflective post. There's always like a quote. Why have you really leveraged on the community tab? Because I think you've totally zeroed in on the community tab as a way to just like put your thoughts out there.
Well, for me, that especially now, because I lost my father over a year
Yeah.
ago. So it's more of now at this point, it's more of an ode to him because he was a poet, and that's kind of paying homage, right? So I keep the poetry theme going, especially in my shorts. If you're interested to give them a listen, again, a lot of people ask, why don't you promote your channel? And I always explain, I believe in the essence of discovery. If somebody's interested enough on their own merit,
Yeah.
they'll if they're interested, they'll connect. If not, they'll connect. But regardless, I'm open to feedback. Before, when I did the first Sunday service, I didn't know how to take criticism at that point yet. But I think I'm in a better place now where I'm like, I've asked my audience and even strangers, give me some feedback so I can learn where to grow at. And it's been great.
Right. The channel, I like PMC Club is also one of the things that came up, I think, between chapter 5 and today. Talk to us about the PMC Club, segment, because I know that is a baby that you've also been trying to nurture.
Well, that's fresh. That's more about fun, like pumping some new life into my channel, right? Because my supporters came up with that concept. And so the thing is, on Mondays and Fridays, 7 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time, which is the time zone here, I'll DJ music and everybody can just come and make a request. Before it started out, when I first started it, it was a themed genre. Like it was maybe slow jam Mondays and
Yeah.
trap Fridays. But now it's gotten to the point where because I'm on vacation, I've gotten a lot of people saying, when is it coming back? So July 6th, the first Monday of next month, it'll be back. So it's been great. I like the reception it's getting, but I give credits to my supporters, man.
I love that, and it was really out of your comfort zone, especially when you started that thing. I was like, this is different, this is new, this is. But also, it just goes back to what you're saying about like receiving feedback, and if the audience want this, let us explore. And it's also like something that took you out of your comfort zone. And how from a creator perspective, and as the host, because you're the host of the PMC Club, how are you finding the traction, especially around this new show? And are you enjoying it? Is it something that you're like, okay, not bad, something different?
I was skeptical at first. I'm a natural born skeptic. So I didn't know how to, when it was pitched at first, I'm like, I don't know how this is going to be. I'm not used to doing this. I'm not the guy that, but
I know.
I learned, you got to try new things and get your feet wet. It's like, it's a callback to the workout collab we did with East African when you
Yeah.
said that that was you stepping out of your comfort zone. So I thought about your statement, and then that was the same thing that I said before Club PMC got off the ground, because I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna work or not. But yeah, I'm glad that I did decide to go through with it, because if I didn't, we'd be doing the same sing song. So I'm just glad I did it.
Yeah, and I mean it's really something different and stuff, and I mean if the people and the supporters I think are enjoying it, I think that's the most I think that's the most important thing. All right, and guys, feel free to ask any question that you may have on the chat, and it can be anything around content creation, it can be anything around like the topic for today, it can be anything around learning the ebbs and flows that is the YouTube platform. And PMC talked about it that I've lost supporters, and that's like a natural progression sometimes for a content creator. And most people sometimes don't know how to handle that, and that is something that we can also like discuss. PMC, when you go back to today's discussion, and you mentioned that one of the things and the natural things that you've learned to accept, of course, is like you lose supporters, you lose subscribers, and sometimes sometimes people just move on to different paths, whether they're still on the platform or not. You're one person I totally respect, because you're one person I know how you survive, because you're not on social media. You're not on any social media. You've never gotten it has never like really, I mean, it has not grown on you. And I mean, this is like this is like the sixth year we are talking on YouTube, and social media has not grown on you and stuff. I still have to like write PMC on email, guys. He's very responsive though. Like in case you want to like look for him outside the platform, you just have to like write an email the old school way. I find it very fascinating anytime I have to write an email to PMC, but he responds very fast, probably very faster than some social media contacts I normally make off this platform. Um, Professor Green says, PMC, you have the blueprint. You have the blueprint. Rob, who is watching us, hey Rob, how you doing, Rob? Rob says, losing supporters these days is a blessing, because it lets you know who is really for you and not just hot air. 100%, brother Rob. And then Alexis, of course, giving like a shout out to Club PMC for sure. PMC, Club PMC. Yeah. So coming to like this fact of okay, sorry. There's a comment there. Take note. A series or theme is important, not random. Thank you so much, Professor Green. I think yeah, and I think we are learning through that. Uh yes, I think I've gotten all the chats that I don't that nobody feels ignored. And then Lexi says sometimes losing the so-called supporters is a blessing. PMC, from your experience, and you win some, you lose some, and I think you're one of the people I think I've known longest on YouTube, and probably you've known me longer on YouTube, because back in the day when you used to struggle to get these things to grow and stuff like that. But of course, every single year you find that sometimes you have totally different people in the community, totally different faces. It's always like changing. It's always like changing. Sometimes you've even lost track of where others went. You no longer see them and things like that. And some you just lose them, and you make peace with it. But there are content creators who don't. They're not in that headspace where they are like to handle that particular kind of transition. For you, how do you like, how do you like even accept that? How do you get to that place of acceptance? Because I know most people struggle with this, like, how come I don't see PMC anymore? What did I do to PMC? They even start like doubting themselves and start making it about like maybe we have beef or something like that. Yet PMC is enjoying his vacation all the way in Puerto Rico. It's not even thinking about you. But we end up like personalizing this and start making it like personal. So for you, how did you get to that space of you win some, you lose some, and it's okay. You progress and you keep doing your thing. How do you get to that kind of frame of mind?
Well, I'm an opportunist, and one of the beliefs I have is when you're spending time in one place, you're losing out on opportunity everywhere else. There's tons of avenues where you can generate some sort of promise, not just financials, right? And what happens with a lot of people on here, and this is just from my experience, right? Assisting others is hard, because sometimes, one of the things I learned from a supporter I got connected with last year ago is when you help someone so much, you can hinder them by trying to help them, and you mean well. But sometimes it's us, we have to back off and kind of just watch, because it's not about what we let somebody else do. And I don't want anybody ever feeling like the assistance I attempted to give was smothering them, right? I don't want to suffocate nobody because, again, like I told you earlier, quality is not always attached to growth. And as a farmer, it's my civic duty to explain that for those that don't understand. Just
Mm,
because you grow, there's a difference between congested traffic and community. Everything that comes in our chat is not for our community, it's not for our cause. Everybody doesn't get along, and that's okay, right? We can agree to disagree. But one thing, when I said hope in regards to the word association earlier, I've lost some of that hope, Goga, just because the incivility that exists in some of these chats. And this isn't singling anybody out, but one of the problems on this app that's a huge problem is a lot of times people will say this isn't okay, but they will co-sign the problems that exist. And we need to stop doing that, because I'm learning this is what also has cost me support, because people instantly take it like I'm attacking them. And I understand the truth. There's a time and place for that, right? Some people feel like your delivery is apathetic, and it's not the case at all. It's just, when is the proper time to address this? Because I can't go along with something that's morally wrong and jeopardize my ethics, my code of ethics. I have a strong set of principle, right? And until we can get on board and have a better
mm,
understanding with that, we're not going to get anywhere. And one thing about being stagnant and not growing, that's actually worse than relapsing, because you're just not moving. And with my support system, like today, it's part of the grind. You're going to lose support naturally. YouTube does the clean sweep. So that's a blessing. But at the same time, but outside of that, when it's by the choice of the people, I don't take it personally, because, we have to remember we're not indebted to one another. We don't owe one another anything. I am grateful for every supporter that I have and every supporter that I had. But, sometimes when you credit someone, they'll take it away. And that's what drives people apart. This grind, the more we grow, Goga, we already can't support everybody, man. We can't watch every video. Life demands a lot of us outside of this. And that's why I tell everybody, have fun with this as a suggestion, right? Because I don't advise nobody. I don't take my own advice. But as a suggestion, have fun with this, but don't devote your full time for what you can to it, because it's not really worth it.
absolutely. And now that brings us to the conversation. It takes like a certain level of discernment, to like be able to appreciate this. You cannot support everyone. You can no longer be in certain spaces. You can no longer like be in certain conversations, in certain friendships, in certain like spaces. It takes a certain level of discernment, especially as a creator. When it comes to you personally, do you think discernment is something that people are born with, or is it something that life teaches us? And sometimes maybe this may be a painful lesson. Do you think it's something that comes naturally to everyone, or is something that life actually throws at you through a lesson?
I think it comes with growth and age. We have a saying here in the Caribbean where those who don't hear must feel. And if you don't listen, you'll suffer the consequences. And, this is a hard lesson for the defiant to learn, right? And I believe in discipline. Structure is great, but without balance and understanding, you can't have structure. And that's part of growth. You remember this, Goga, because of the Swahili connection. Jenga means to build. It was one of my quotes. Sometimes in life, and I said it in the first Sunday service. If you go all the way back where it was Goga, myself, and a.k.a, shout out to him, I said sometimes in life, things have to fall apart in order to be rebuilt 10 times stronger. And sometimes when things in your life collapse, it's a blessing. I'm a hurricane survivor. For those that didn't know, it's made me stronger. I hurt because of possession I lost, but I have the most valuable thing that's important to me, my life. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to talk to you guys today. So, like I tell everybody, for the monetized, because I was one of them, I'm no longer that. And I feel free because it was demanding so much and I don't have the time to invest. Right. So, my thing with that is, if you lose monetization, don't lose hope, because you have something more valuable than monetization, and that's your dignity.
I love that. Choosing your battles is one of the aspects that you are going to discuss today. PMC, has there been a moment like when saying nothing was more powerful than you defending a position?
Yeah, I believe that there's look, uh, silence is gold and duct tape is silver. And silence is powerful when you don't need to really say anything, right? Sometimes people can take silence as an offense. You're being rude because you won't speak. But I'm learning that, there's a time and place for everything. Especially I've addressed like this cost me some support recently because I said when people come in your chat, they're extremely talkative. They participate, but then when you see them exact same people somewhere else, they don't know who you are. And that's disrespectful because I'm like, now I believe if I didn't do anything, I'm not gonna apologize for no reason.
All
So
right.
I just feel that if we have a better understanding, until we get there, we're never gonna have balance the way that it should be. Not because I'm saying it, right? It's not what I say. I feel like this. I love conversation because everybody's perspective makes it to be what it is. And I tell my supporters on my live stream this all the time. I thank you guys for taking the time out of your life to contribute to this discussion because without you, there's no community. So I always remind my supporters, without them, there's no PMC, and I'll need them before they need me because it's a callback to, I can't take full credit for something I didn't do alone. And I'm always going to be grateful that they chose to tolerate me on days when I can't tolerate myself. Goga, that is a part of growth. And just understand it because, I still have some self adjustments to make, right? There's some immaturities, insecurities, and childishness in this heart. But I learned that with time, and I'm honest enough to say that with you guys now. I should be able to.
Um, you bring me to the conversation I was having with Lexi at the beginning of the month, and we were talking about bullies, and it was a very deep conversation, and it for I think it was a very personal. It was very personal because I think it was going deep into I think somebody attacking, especially around family, and for it really hurt her in a very deep way. And I felt the hurt, especially considering I think she was commemorating her her late mom's like anniversary. And that brings me to the conversation, especially around like criticism. Like, yeah, and I like how you say, you're still evolving, and sometimes there may be like certain things, of course, you may not get right, which of course is natural because we are all human. But PMC, how do you decide what criticism that is you're going to give attention, and which one simply just deserves your silence? Because I think one of the challenges we have, especially on this particular platform, is that even though a criticism maybe comes in, maybe you say, no, this is an opportunity to start drama and maybe start stirring up shit. But there's some level of criticism that you're like, it is not worth my energy, it is not worth my time, I'm not going to fuel it. How do you decide that? Because I think most of us always struggle with that as creators.
Well, for me, I have a saying: I never pick a side with people, only my meals. I'm neutral. So if I see something that's going on, I can only hope that the two parties involved hash it out on an adult manner, right? We're grown, and to be honest, Goga, the internet provides this false idea that a keyboard gives you power when it doesn't. What you say on here has consequences, and you don't realize the impact that what you type to somebody can hurt them. It's not about even them being weak, but we all have feelings. We just don't consider each other's equally, and that's the problem. And even for somebody that you dislike or dislikes you, I feel like a mediator isn't needed for that if maturity's there, because you can even talk with somebody that you don't care for. Like, I don't necessarily need somebody to like me, but if they're for my cause, we can work together and put whatever issue isn't that important behind us. But in this point in my YouTube journey, helping folks is something I don't know how to do much anymore. I'm a martial artist, that. And so I have these four things, right? Live, blind, serve, die. I'm alive. I'm serving because I'm a slave. I try to guide if I'm allowed to, and I'm not dead yet. And trying to guide folks is hard because sometimes people have this thing where you trying to help them is trying to dictate their life, control their life. And I'm always the one to tell you that I wouldn't want to be in complete control of my life, because the key to a happy life is understanding and just celebrating that you're not entirely in control. Because if you were, you probably crash. So for that reason, I'm thankful I don't have entire control of what I'm driving towards. But at the same time, in regards to the bullying, man, it's a shame because it doesn't have to be like that. But
Mm.
that's what causes growth. And you know, Groga, if you're not somebody that's growing naturally, you're gonna get desperate, especially if your aim is to get monetized and you don't care who you hurt. You know, people will step on the neck of anybody just to make a dollar. And that's not
Yeah.
to offend anybody here. But you know, I've cut off people like that because I'm only interested in capital to finance my family, wife, and that's it. And myself last. No specific order, because priority means more to me than competition. And I'm the one that said purpose over popularity. Right? We all have a purpose. I don't question anybody's purpose here, but just don't strive to be popular, because at the end of that, the same people that welcome you are going to toss you out. So this is why I do my own thing, Goga. I'm a lone wolf, brother. You are muted.
I'm laughing here. I was saying purpose over popularity. I remember that from one of our conversations, purpose over popularity. I think I also liked that there was, I think, another angle of people over the algorithm, character over clout. Very, very powerful, like statements in there. Um, and that and just in this like conversation around just choosing our battles before we get into the peace, because also you're one person I really like how you prioritize also like your inner peace in terms of the spaces you're in. Many creators always feel like they need to respond to any controversy. Something is happening. Let me respond to it because I need to like throw my voice behind it. And I know you're one person, you don't chase trends. But we are in a platform where everybody wants to jump on a trend because it's very popular and it's going to give you the views, it's going to give you the popularity rather than the purpose. Have you ever learned more from the battles that you did not fight uh, than the ones you did? Like just as a broad example, like we choose battles, you choose fights. Um, do you have like an opportunity where you learned something from a, a battle you just chose to stay away from?
I wouldn't necessarily call it a battle, but I've learned that you could lose support if you're not willing to compromise your morals because you don't believe in something that isn't going to last long. And one thing about trends, they die. You know, everybody gets hyped to something. Look, it's gotten to the point where even a pair of boots were a trend. So everybody's running to get the latest pair. And once they
Yeah.
sell them, and everybody, the hype behind it starts to fade away, everybody's gonna just go jump on the next wave. And one thing about a wave, because I'm a man on the waves too, I surf. That's one of my hobbies. So I have this
Yes.
saying, life is a wave, surf it. But I'm not referencing trends because, one thing about trends is they're meaningless. Now, I said this, Goga, I'm not one for wanting to go viral. However, if I was to go viral, I'd want to go viral for doing something original and something that nobody has ever done and no one has ever seen. But see, that's hard because one thing that I always say about the influencers, for example, right? Before I joined YouTube and really started to push for this journey, I would see people back and forth saying, "You stole my idea." And it would always stand out to me because I'm like, that idea existed before you two joined this platform. So how are you taking credit for something that you didn't come up with? And again,
Yeah.
Prima Lexi, talks about this often, that she doesn't like the influencer tag and, disclaimer, because everything we talk about, people take it away. It's like, before you bite our head off, hear us out first. I'm not one
Yeah.
for the influencer thing myself either. But it is great for those because again, like you're a teacher. You're also a student to those you teach. You guys exchange, you learn and teach things, but you also understand that what teaching comes along with is responsibility. And one thing
Absolutely.
I never want to do when I discuss anything with my audience, I never want to misquote, mislabel, or misinform because, I should be held accountable if I do that. So I make sure never to speak on things that I'm not well versed in. It's even gotten to a point, Goga, that I've had so many people ask me, I should start a podcast. And I kind of said no because I'm like, they wanted to do a joint thing. And one thing is, this is the same thing I see about couples channels, for example. What happens? Yeah, what happens if you split? What happens to the channel then? Because sometimes the closest of friends turn to the ugliest of enemies. And I wouldn't ever want to end up in a predicament like that. So who we love, we must protect. But this is just my perspective and opinion. This isn't me telling you how to do anything. It's just you got to really examine some things and factor in everything before you proceed. And that's what helps me learn. In this journey.
Absolutely. Allow me to welcome one of your supporters who just joined in, First Lady Pink Parisian Visionaire. Welcome, welcome. Thanks so much for coming in. I like that long message. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I think happy Sunday, Goga. I am new to your channel. I'm a subscriber of PMC. Hello, PMC. Don't worry. Any friend of PMC is a friend of mine. Welcome, Parisian Visionaire. I love that name, Parisian Visionaire. I love it. I love it. I love it. And then, of course, she said this, and everybody has been talking about this the whole month. I am not the trend. Sorry, I don't follow trends. I am the trend. I am the trend. This has been like, Lexi said this needs to go on a t-shirt somewhere or on a mug or on a cup. Yeah, or on a cup, because I think it was a very powerful statement. Thanks so much, Parisian, for coming in, and feel very welcome. You can just type Goga on the chat, and then my night will be able to drop the link, and then people will be able to connect to you. And once again, guys, in case you don't know who our co-host is, my co-host is my brother, Proud Mixchild, PMC. You can see it on his name. His channel, of course, is Proud Mixchild. I just shared it on the screen. I hope you guys can see it. Like it's the only one. Like just go and type Proud Mixture. There's no any other Proud Mixture on YouTube. Actually, there is none. So just go and type Proud Mixture. It's the only one you will find when you search. Yeah, and you'll be able to at least be part of his good conversations, his live streams, and he only does live streams. PMC, I've not seen a video like recently. I haven't seen any for a while. Yeah, so yeah, you'll be able to catch up on one of his live streams. I like the weekend ones, the ones that he does on Sundays, usually I think Sunday afternoons. Those are the ones I get to catch, I think, before, as I'm preparing for the Sunday service, waiting for guests and whatnot. And PMC, that takes us back to the conversations around the space. Like discernment is also just about also choosing the spaces that you find yourself in. And you have often said that every live stream has its own energy. This one has always been something that you're able to easily perceive. What is it that tells you that a space is worth entering and also maybe participating or even being part of? What is that thing that tells you about a space that will make you stay or take the next flight?
I think being welcomed as everybody else that's already present. Because one thing is, if you're going to a stream you've never experienced, you have to remember you're an outsider. Vice versa,
Mhm.
right? And we all have intentions. Sometimes you don't know what people's intentions are when they come in your chat. It can be to shake things up or cause drama. And one thing about me is I'll always tell you what it is and not what it isn't. Sometimes not being invited to a stream is a blessing, not because who doesn't really want you there is being spiteful, but that could be a way of them trying to protect you from getting involved with something that you don't really support. Like with streams, there's a lot of consequences that come with this. People have been doxxed, your private information is leaked, and we all have to be careful on here. Kids come in adult chats and bots, trolls, everything. You have to learn to adjust and protect your energy. And energy transference is something that's harmful, Goga, because we don't learn a lesson until after we've exchanged energy with the wrong people. I'm guilty of this. I've opened up to the wrong people when I needed help the most. And this is a side discussion I had with a friend on here. I wouldn't want to go back into the past because there's no more pain back there. And the same people that I asked for help when I really needed it, man, just put me down that much more. And I really had to learn. That's why I'm so strong with my personality. I'm stoic. And I made, like I said to my audience days ago, I'm really sorry if I come out here and kind of get at you guys because it's not your fault for what I'm personally going through when I'm dealing with something. And you have to hold self accountable if you come away. And a lot of times, some content creators are willing to do that. It's not about you crediting me for, checking self. I'm supposed to do that. This way I can't get upset at somebody else for rightfully doing it. Then that's the criticism you talk about, Goga. We have to learn to just be like, hey, I needed that. I need that swift kick because it makes me better at what I'm already excelling at. But sometimes you need a reminder from the people that say they love you most. You got to get yourself together. Otherwise, you are going to lose what developed the love for you in the first place.
Absolutely. Um, welcome, Miss Bailey Official, and yeah, we love this collaboration as well. Chapter six, it is chapter six. And yes, guys, keep dropping those lion emojis on the chat here. Today, that's going to be the emoji of the day, the lion itself, the lion itself. I like what you said about when you walk into a chat, and you can be an outsider. Clearly, it's always obvious. And I think between chapter 5 and today, let's talk about the trolls because, oh my God, what did you do? You've attracted a lot of those in the last year. In the last year, you attracted a lot of those, and I think Lily and I think we had to do a lot of that fighting. And I like how you made a choice. Okay, we'll keep it 20 minutes. Only subscribers of 20 minutes and above can participate in this conversation, and I think that kind at least put things a bit sane. And let's talk about the trolls. And half the time these are people who don't know you. They're coming to the space. Three-quarters of them are kids. Their kids probably have no idea what is going on. But you had to. This is a battle you had to fight between chapter 5 and today. So talk to us about how what is that lesson you learned from this the troll gate, for lack of a better word, and how did you navigate it, because it's an ongoing problem. I know it has reduced a bit. It's not as bad as it was when YouTube was trying to push verticals like crazy.
Right.
But I know quite a number of people, I think, I've literally seen somebody cry on their live stream because of trolls. Like, they could not handle it, and they are no more than things like that. It really got out of hand. That poor lady, oh my God, yeah, I could not even help her because she's not seeing the chats, because it was just craziness all there. Yeah, so talk to us about this, the troll gate.
Well, that's a huge problem. It's also a test too to see if you have thick skin, right? Because these people don't know you. And I always say to you guys, is a form of poetry, a comment from no face holds no weight. So should you feel attacked, should you feel hurt, because these people don't know you. And like you said, Goga, about is it worth responding? That's a double-edged sword, just because, and this is my opinion, right? That's a double-edged sword sometimes, because if you respond, you could be validating that point of view of you. So that's kind of sour. It's bittersweet, right? So in regard to the trolls, there's a saying, right? They're just talking because it's free Wi-Fi. So why respond to them? They're gonna do what they do anywhere else. And thank God for sub mode. Sub mode is the peacekeeper. And I understand, but again, it goes back to the desperation thing. People take disrespect for free on this platform every day, whether monetized or in pursuit of monetization or monetized. Then I told Lexi this when we did our first collab together 1 year ago. The same people agreeing with you are the same people on the opposite side of the fence with time. When you see the hypocrisy, right? Because they were agreeing the whole time and they've become everything that they said they wouldn't. So in regards to the trolling, it is a huge problem, but it's also about what you allow. You don't have to tolerate it. And if that means them subscribing to you. Troll traffic is a guideline violation. I don't know if people really know that. But the thing is, Gogo, and you even understand this at this point in your journey, right? We don't entirely dictate the success of our channel. Our audience does too. Because they helped us
Absolutely.
build this, they can help us cause it to fall apart. And one thing about the trolls, like I told Lexi, you get rid of them. You don't give them no energy because the more time that's even to a point where people entertain it, brother. And I don't have time like that. If that's what you want to do, that's great. Like I told you before in the past Sunday services, I believe there's a season in every chat. Some places you're gonna feel summer, some you might feel winter, and it's the energy of the host too. Are they hospitable to you? Are they kind of shading you? Because how many chats have you been to and treated like, I just got here, I'm here to support, but the host treated you like they wanted you gone. I'm like, can I even get a chance to say hello, man? I'm like, it's like that, and I've learned, like you asked me, I believe in chapter 4, why is it that I stay in certain chats longer than others? And the answer hasn't changed since then. I feel at home. I feel that everybody is treated equal. Everybody's comment is read. Everybody's comment matters. But nowadays, I have really pulled back from going certain places because when people tell you that you've changed, just because you've had to ensure that your chat was going to be more stern because it's getting out of control. How many streams have you been through, Gogo, where you've seen the host lose control of their own chat and it's taken over by a guest on panel or the chat itself? And so when people say you've changed, you're supposed to, because that's part of evolving. And everybody's not going to get with the program. But I feel like this: don't try to make it as if you were ordered to be someplace. We all go to these chats by freedom of choice. And if we are going to blame somebody, it's on us. If you didn't like what occurred in the chat, you don't have to go back, right? But you don't have to be disrespectful about it either. And these are things that I'm learning to go with my journey. I started this July 31st, 2018. I've seen some of the best things happen. I've seen some of the worst things happen. And I'm glad to be part of certain things I did. But I'm just glad that I went through a lot of the negatives I did on here because it helped me see things more clearer and what mistakes not to make going forward.
Welcome, Glenn's Hobbies. Nice to see you. Welcome, Glenn's Hobbies. The Sharia. Nice to see you. Yes, we are Keisha. Moments in Keisha. Welcome. Thanks so much for guys for coming in. And once again, guys, in case you're not yet connected to my brother, Proud Mixed Child, of course, you can. The channel is there. Like I is waving at you guys, just to make sure that you guys don't feel ignored. We have to make sure we don't ignore you. You had PMC, like I always tell you guys, PMC is like very influential, and I'm not just saying this because of the panel. PMC has the advantage of having seen me on my first ever live stream on YouTube. The first time I ever went live on YouTube, PMC saw it. And I was looking, first of all, I did not even know what button was where. I was struggling there and things like that. So he's kind of known me for a while. PMC, just on a side note, compare YouTube back in the day, because you started your YouTube channel like way back before YouTube started dangling the carrots. I mean, for you, PMC, you're lucky because you even started your channel before COVID. So when things were like at least a little bit easier, before they started throwing all this new stuff, the new age tech and things like that. Do you miss those days? Like, do you miss the pre-2021 YouTube?
I do. I feel like there was a different energy, especially
Yeah.
like when you see people that connected with you from early on in your journey. It's a reminder
Yeah.
of those things, what it used to be like, and even before I really started to take this journey serious, before my monetization, when I was, you know,
Yeah.
2017 was a great year, man. And I hadn't even got my journey started yet, but I had fun participating in other chats and helping others that I could be of use to and watch them get
Yeah.
monetized. And I love that they didn't let the rewards of this grind consume them. They stayed true to who they are as people, right? And we always joke about it, right? Before I got monetized and I got that email from YouTube, I'm like, I'm gonna start making money. I'm gonna get rich. But then I was like, nah, this ain't gonna work out. So that's the only, yeah, that's right. That's the only reminder of times then and now. Like, monetization was harder for us because it required 4,000 watch hours and over 1K subs. Now it's a little bit easier. I think they're becoming a little bit more easier for people, but right now there's a string of supporters getting demonetized because we use content, the overuse of AI. So you definitely have to be careful with the participation and having fun because it's costly, right? And again, I'm like with the wildlife, people looping those videos. That was good too. It, it helped a lot of
PMC.
people. It helped,
Let
it helped
PMC
a
has
lot
got
of
the receipt.
people.
PMC, leave my animals alone.
It helped a lot of people, but a lot of people ended up deleting those videos. Nan Musa, shout out to her. But look, for example, Goga Nan's not really on YouTube no more. And it's just like some people end up going over to TikTok or other social platforms to get promise. And some of them do. One of my closest supporters, she's doing well on TikTok. She's got over 1 million followers. And I literally told her, don't come back to YouTube. Stay enjoying the
Stay there.
fruitful labor over there because it will make no sense for you to do that. And if anybody can grow how they're growing, as long as it doesn't come with hurting somebody to get ahead, I'm all for it.
Absolutely. And like I'm just trying to imagine even because you were there when I did my first live stream, and we never even used to have these vertical things.
Mm.
We never used to have shorts. Shorts are a totally new thing. And you just reminded me when you were starting the conversation that Goga, you remember community? You had to work for your community tab. You had to work so hard to get your community tab. Nowadays it's like thrown out for free and things like that. And then now also add the new age AI that YouTube is even backtracking on right now because people are using it, and AI has made YouTube to be a platform where people don't even know what is real and fake. Nobody can even create the distinction anymore. So now they're not even pushing AI content as much as they used to, like promote it back in the day. And you've lived through these like errors, for lack of a better word, on YouTube. What is the one thing that that has stayed consistent with you? Whether they like bring vertical live streams, whether they bring shorts, whether they bring AI. What is the one thing that has remained consistent over the years since 2018 for you?
Staying true to tradition and not going getting caught up with what everybody else is doing because I've always said the minute you do that you start to lose everything you kind of stand for. And one thing I'm pursuing is originality. Authenticity is something we cover, and one thing that is very important is you should never trade your authenticity for approval. And a lot of
Yeah.
people do just to get ahead, and then it becomes to a point, how many friends have you had that you swear you didn't know who they were anymore, all because their desires changed who they are and it distorted their relationship with you. And
Mhm.
one thing about relationships is, we're trying to build a good rapport with who we connect with. But when the desires start to take over their grasp, then you start looking at it like, oh man, I don't even remember this person anymore. And that's sad to watch, right? Because that comes with growth. Growth drives us apart sometimes, man. The more we grow, the more that we drift apart. And it's like if you get to a 100K, and you will in the near future, you get that silver play button. Some of the closest people to you may turn on you out of concealed envy. And there are people who tolerate you. They don't necessarily support you because they desire the things you have. And when you're not willing to work hard and get what's promising for yourself, you'd go after the person that you see getting it and you'll hate them for that. And that's what hurts, right? Because I'm not a robot, but it hurts to see that become a friend. People end up turning on you. And it's like, man, I didn't know you felt like that. The worst way to find out too, Gogo, like when it goes back to the bullying thing, the people that are in your chats and supportive of you, then you go elsewhere and thank God for the bushes in that regard. But
I love these wishes.
it's a shame that you hear some of the most distasteful thoughts about you from somebody who calls you a friend by hiding in the bushes. It's a shame. And it does hurt. We no matter what we say, it's like, man, that really sting. I didn't know you felt like that. And I get it, people don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, but I'd rather you just let me know, look, I don't care for you. I'll be like, okay, I could take that. Everybody in this world does not like each other, but
Mm.
that's a part of honesty, man. And I would rather somebody be honest with me rather than pull my leg, because it's gonna hurt them, right? It stays on your conscience. So like I said, what kind of supporter are you? That's a topic I've had, Goga, because some people don't really know what they're supporting somebody else for. Are you supporting somebody to gain something from them, whether it be knowledge, or are you trying to sabotage their channel? Because I just want to touch on this real quick regarding the moderators thing. You ever been trolled and you got a room full of mods, and I get it, everybody's busy, but you ever question sometimes maybe the mods feel about you like the trolls do? Think about
Oh,
that.
wow. Ooh, that's deep. Rob says, "I've had that happen, but I'm glad. I'm glad of that too. I'm glad of that too." Welcome, Marcus. Marcus, thank you so much for the 7 months of trust. I don't take it for granted. Thank you so much for that, Marcus, all the way from Germany. Miss Bailey says, "Not everyone will grow with you, and that's why I teach how to grow the right way." I think there was also a very beautiful comment I saw here. Yes, I think I also like that one. The more we grow, you will leave people behind, and I think PMC just like summarized that very easily. That part, oh my God, PMC, you have to repeat that because I just had an epiphany right now that maybe one of the things I don't have a lot of mods, they're very few, I can literally count them. But maybe talk to us about this because I think one of the things I've always been very clear when I'm speaking to the community when during the classes is that being a mod is a privilege, it's not a right. There is nothing like it's actually an extreme privilege that somebody has actually given you like some extra eye in case they miss something. Just in the event they miss something, you can help them handle that. But I never thought of it that way. It's a very powerful like analogy that maybe just maybe, when you're too generous, maybe that's what they think about. They may be the same like they may be the same boat like the trolls. What have been some of your best practices, especially around mods, generally?
It's dangerous because the purpose of giving somebody moderators privileges so they can ensure the protection of your chat. And I understand we are all busy. Everybody has a life outside of this, but at the same time, if you're actively in the chat and you see a disturbance appear and you don't say anything, it's giving off the idea maybe you feel like that too. And maybe you're even friends with the troll yourself. And the thing about mods, Goga, is that in other chats I've seen it, people will unsubscribe from you if you do not give them mods. If they genuinely did, and your studio will validate this. And when people take it that serious, that's what I'm telling you is a red flag because who you grant blue to isn't always going to be true to you. And some of them can get you flagged. Some of them can spam your channel to secretly take you down. And it's consequences with just giving people moderators, whether you trust them or not. And I feel like this: if you want insurance, I think installing Nightbot would be a good option because at least with Nightbot, even though it malfunctions from time to time, it's more reliable than somebody that you question. And again, yeah, man, it's worth going through the hours to install that because it's better knowing that Nightbot is going to have its little issue rather than somebody you thought you could trust. And I'm not really saying I'm profound, Goga. It's just giving people something to think about because how many people have you seen on mod who they thought were a friend or they thought they could trust? And then it sours the relationship with them. And then it leads you to be like, well, I didn't know being a moderator was that important to you that it was going to blow us a friendship. But that's just how it goes, man.
I like that. Okay. Let me see if I missed anything on the chat. Winston saying blessings to everybody. Happy Sunday. Thanks so much, Winston, for popping in. How you doing? Food pinyam. And then Miss Bailey says, as PMC says, we're getting to know your community 100%, 100%, 100%. Brooklyn Beauty, welcome, Brooklyn Beauty. Nice to see you. I was just thinking of proud mixed child poetry. Nice. Thank you so much for that. Brooklyn needs to come to the Sunday service, and we've at least finally she agreed. I'm glad because it took a lot of convincing PMC to get Brooklyn to just say yes. But she agreed and said, "Goga, okay, fine, we'll do it. We'll do it. Let me know." She's amazing. She's great energy. Great energy. All right. Someone said today poetry is going away. I don't think PMC will agree with this one. That, it, PMC opinions.
I feel like it's going away only if you're not interested in it. I mean, it's something that everything at some point or another becomes a lost art when people aren't really paying attention. And this goes back to the trend thing, right? Trends start to make you forget about everything that was here prior to trends being a thing, especially if you're willing to indulge in something that has no longevity. And one thing, Goga, that's what I love about a veteran and anything, right? Veterans can stand the test of time. They just don't get their due because the new generation looks at it like, well, you're of past. You have to move aside and let somebody else shine. And I don't disagree with that, but I'm not going
Yeah.
to disrespect what came before me because what came before me gave me the tools to get here. That's what they don't acknowledge. But you gotta pray for the misguided or misinformed or just ignorant.
Hmm. Okay. Yes, I think Brooklyn, that was powerful. Keisha, welcome, welcome. Keisha says, Keisha, now you're going to now make my head swell. Happy Sunday, both of my deliciously PMC, you see that? Both of my deliciously handsome brothers on the same screen once again. Yeah, Kisha has been through the chapters. Kisha has always been through the chapters, all the five of them. Welcome, welcome. Kisha is so cool. Like yesterday, I don't know what we were discussing. I think she sent me something that I needed to like research on so that I can teach. And then it's like, okay, Goga, good night. I know it is very late. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you in PMC tomorrow. Like she said it so naturally, like, yeah, I'll see you in PMC tomorrow. And I was like, okay, thank you. I love that. It was such a beautiful surprise. Red Zoom, welcome, welcome. Red Zoom, I can see you peeping there in the bushes. I hope you're having an amazing Sunday. And Thrive and Grow just says, I agree with that, PMC. This is the take on poetry, and I think I totally also agree with that. But it only goes away if you no longer if you're not paying attention to it. But otherwise, I think it's here to stay. Miss Bailey is asking, how do you motivate viewers or subscribers who are still stuck in habits? Yikes!
Well, my thing is just encourage them to try something different. We're all creatures of habit. Like I'll tell you, my habitat is where I learn my habits at. But with that being said, I could place myself anywhere and it'll give me something to think about. It'll help me learn something and it'll help me acquire a new skill to whatever it is I'm interested in. So take up a trade and learn that keeping yourself in one place isn't going to diversify your talent. And you don't need a gimmick. You don't need an image. You don't need to do a trend to really thrive. One thing about my journey at this point, Goga, too, I'll always say to an extent, the truth doesn't do numbers because numbers fluctuate, right? The system is what it is. The algorithm's constantly shifting from one day to the next. And for my time when I was monetized, I took every opportunity I could to learn what I could about YouTube and what it wants for us. I want to interface with everything. That's why I love learning. So I can teach somebody. And I've even said, like with many friends, that I don't know how to inform them of something. I'm still learning. I'll refer them to somebody that I trust if I don't, and it always works out. So that's the power and connection, right? What you don't know, you could recommend someone to someone else, and they can teach them what they didn't know.
Okay, perfect. I love that. Miss Bailey, I hope you've been answered. Um, PMC, just to close on this, the aspect of the choosing the spaces. Um, when it comes to you as a person, what are some of the subtle signs that you normally like? It can even be intuition or something. What are some of the subtle signs that you normally use just that tell you that it is time to leave? Even if nobody has done something wrong, even if like that host or that content creator, there's nothing wrong with them, but do you like sometimes trust your intuition that there's a sign here, it is time for me to leave this particular space? And this is just like a converse because we lose subscribers, but have you had the occasion where you have to like remove yourself from a space? And what were those subtle signs that made you like leave that space?
Well, I've left spaces because I just felt when you're trying to recommend something healthy to people and they take it as the opposite, it's like you're not going to try to push anymore for them to see it. You know, that again, it goes back to our Caribbean proverb, those who don't
Mm.
hear must feel. And if you don't listen, you will suffer the consequences. But you didn't hear me say because you didn't do what I said, you'll suffer. It's just a life thing. It's just a life thing, man. You know, I feel like sometimes people have to learn the hard way, and that's the route that their free will allows them to take. So like I said, I like a quiet success, Goga, and my channel is something that I can really attest to that with time. I don't join trends. I'm not somebody for groups. I'm just kind of in my own lane, and that works for me. And I've said, you know, I love recommendations, but at the same time, as I've explained to my audience, what got me here also for my hard work that I've invested in it is I've done things that make me happy, even if others weren't happy with it. Because when you're doing everything everybody else recommends, you start to forget what about what you think, right? You
Mm.
have to factor in yourself. Otherwise, you're going to always be trying to please everybody else. And that's one thing you cannot do, no matter what it is in life. And far as leaving this platform, success is endless, but at the same time, you know, achievements exist outside of this app. And it goes back to keeping yourself in one place. I'm an opportunist. Sometimes, brother, I have wasted time on here and it's cost me opportunity elsewhere. And I regret that. It's not a shot at anybody here or my supporters, but like I told them, you know, you got to be careful what you're speaking on because you don't even have an idea of the things that who you're connected to is going through. None of us do. I don't know my support. Look, Goga, you could have a childhood friend. Like everything you see me in here, this is from my man in Japan. You know, he
Mm.
is a lifelong friend, but there are some things I don't know about him. And that's kind of the thing. You'll always be left to wonder. Like when you converse with people, whether it's leisure or business, what is it they don't say to you in all the discussions you have that's always has you wondering, what is it I don't know about them? And it doesn't have to be bad, but it's just you're always wondering that, man.
Yep. Like, yeah, the unspoken, the the subtleties that are not being said. Mr. Shadow, welcome. Mr. Shadow, I see you there. I see Tina Marie's in the house. Welcome, Tina. Uh, Mr. Shadow came here, Tina, and I always have to make sure that I acknowledge Mr. Shadow because he really surprised me. That said, I watched your interview with Tina, and I'm here, Goga. And this is like weeks, months later on. So thanks so much, Mr. Shadow. Always a pleasure seeing you here. Tina Marie, welcome back. East African is saying, well said, PMC. And guys, if you have any question you want to ask PMC, feel free to drop it on the chat so that I don't monopolize his wisdom. Uh, and I think Miss Bailey, thanks so much for those comments. Professor Green says, put your own spin on this 100%. Right. I think you guys are saying hi to each other. Da, 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 da. And then I think Miss Bailey says, that's right. Pain will teach what love pain will teach what love wants. I know how that feels. I love that. It's very powerful. Mr. Shadow saying hi to the twin Tina. You guys pick it up yourselves and things like that. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. Guys, PMC, this one of the things I think at least I learned when you were busy mentoring me on the past. And I think I do well at it. Yeah, all right. And once again, guys, we are on chapter 6 with PMC. We are learning, we are discussing everything about the art of discernment as a content creator. How do you choose your battles? How do you choose your people? How do you choose your spaces? And how do you protect your peace? That is the conversation we are having here. And this may not necessarily like refer to just content creators. It may also be like other aspects of your life. It can be your work. It can be your friendships. It can be your relationships and things like that. If the shoe fits, by all means, make sure that it applies in that particular context. PMC, I think over time, as you grow older and even as you continue like evolving on this particular platform, one of the things I'm realizing when I compare my the 6 year young self back in the day when we started off the YouTube journey, as you evolve, you also like start being selective about who gets access to your energy and your time, because experience slowly shows you, just like what you were saying earlier, that people can drain your energy. Sometimes they are energy vampires. I learned about energy vampires on one of the Sunday services with a guest. What is that one thing that taught you that lesson, that you need to control who gets access, not just to your time, but also your energy?
Being cordial with everybody. You know, sometimes you gotta, I learned from my pops, God rest his soul. Sometimes you gotta be a little rough around the edges with people because the root of the issue is the problem. And when we skip over that, we're never gonna have a authentic conversation. We're not. I don't have all the answers. I explain this all the time when I'm live. People's issue is never going to really be with you. It's going to be how you say things and what you say, because from where they sit, it's preachy, and I've gotten that too. First and foremost, my thing is, everybody's got a figure in this world, and I learn from them. This is why I talk like this. I love the elders. I love to impart that wisdom from them. And I'll be 40 in a couple years, God willing. My thing is, Goga, we're teachers. And the unfortunate thing about teachers and time is time kills all its students. Literally. We only have so much time to learn. If I look back, if you would have asked me this in the first Sunday service, I would look back at me and say, oh, that was inexperienced PMC. I had no idea where this would take me. And I think numbers will also show you who you are too. And as long as you don't let that go to your head, right? Sometimes people look at numbers and it becomes this compete thing. Oh, I'm competing against everybody. Like I have this saying, right? Success can't allow itself to worry about what it's ahead of, but you stay humble being successful, right? Because a lot of times people get to a certain height and now they're above you. I'm not above anybody. You know what? Me and my support team are on the same surface level. That's why we have an understanding. And far as circles and groups and cliques, I don't do that because I believe that I can't pledge allegiance to a clique I can't reconcile with how it formed. The same way these people join up is the same thing that's going to cause them to break apart. And I just like to do my own thing because there's strength in numbers, but there's a greater strength in self-belief.
Right. There's a comment here. I think I liked. Winston says, "Facts, brother PMC. I say it all the time. When there is no joy for me on YouTube, I'm out. And there's no joy for you on me, I'm out." And then there's also another comment I liked here that I put a star on, and this was a comment by Professor Green, and I think maybe you can comment on this. Professor Green says that he's admiring the grassroots project logo on your cap. Yeah.
It's all
So just,
Japan, brother. Japanese.
all right. And guys, today I've not had anyone of you comment about PMC's hair, and nobody's asking for PMC's bling. At least we have grown. We have grown. You're not harassing the guest for his blings and his. Yeah, like the previous year, people have always been asking PMC for his blings. Today, you guys are very, yeah. There's growth. PMC said it. Yeah, people have been growing. People have been growing. Thank you. Thank you for that. Then Miss Bailey says, being a content creator is hard. It's like building a house. It's like cooking. It's like driving a car. It's a process. PMC, the last time we spoke, you also considered the possibility of leaving YouTube. In fact, you are never certain about chapter 6, and you say we'll see. It was, I think it was like, because I think in that particular season of your life, I think you felt like you had done your time on YouTube. Um, I know you've scaled down a lot of things on YouTube either way. I know you've totally scaled down a lot of things. You're not as regular as you used to be. Is that decision still there, or is it a work in progress? Have you like done a reroute or?
I have this thing called the 3 R, recharge, reevaluate, and reinforce. Sometimes you have to reinforce. Like for me, when I say I'm going to leave this platform, it still holds. I just don't know exactly when, because for me, not chasing the silver play button, this has always been hobby for me. I just wanted to get an understanding of what it means to be monetized when I was, and I did that. This was what allowed me to inform others how to go. I had prior streams, Goga, 3 years ago, where we spent time in the Lions Den here talking about monetization and helping one another. And those were some of the greatest streams because it was a more about everybody doing a team effort and for their own channel, because we all have to look out for our own channels, how we can grow and prosper. And it doesn't necessarily mean super chats and super stickers. What is the most valuable lesson you learn being monetized? And most people can't answer that. So I think with time, that does its job. And time's going to do what it does to all of us. You know, there may be a time where you interview me and I can't remember none of what we did and been through in the past. But it's so much that I've been through on this experience since July 31st, 2018. And some of my favorite memories are when I first started, and not necessarily me being monetized, just helping others get to monetization and see what it did for them. But some of the closest in the African community I came up with, they're no longer on YouTube anymore. Some of them kind of took their journey, and wherever they are in life today, I hope they're prospering. But the world is changing, man. So like I said, have fun with this, but balance other avenues the same as you do on here. Because remember, two is better than one, and success never hurts you depending on how you go about it.
Okay. There's a Rob. Thank you so much for this comment. Compliment. I like this kind of live streams because these are truths that many know but refuse to accept. Guys, PMC can be. I mean, you guys have been through PMC's 5 chapters, and he's always been very direct. One of the things I appreciate about PMC is not me. For me, I'm a trained diplomat because of the people I speak to. So I'm a trained diplomat. PMC will tell you like directly. So, so and I think that, and sometimes I think it's very difficult for most people to like be able to appreciate that. I also like this comment by Professor Green. I believe we don't have control over our true channel outcomes. I don't go anywhere for say 2 weeks and I get viral support without posting or supporting. That has been PMC's like channel growth. Like it's amazing that even when he decided to scale down, the channel has been growing. And I think we were even laughing at it when he was just about to hit 20K. And it happened and it's still growing. There's a question that Mr. Shadow has asked me here, but I think PMC can help me answer because I know PMC is very connected to the earth. The other day, PMC was showing me the ocean and the waves. He's on PMC was still on vacation. I think your vacation is coming to an end. No, you're still on vacation even in July, right?
My vacation ends in mid-August.
Oh yeah, because I remember you mentioned until the end of July. Oh, okay, clearly. So Mr. Shadow is asking because I know you work with the earth and the land a lot. Have you learned a way to control energy and use it to improve earth and peace?
I think that question is meant for you, but if I was gonna answer, absolutely. I think placing yourself in a specific setting does that, and it's a double-edged sword too. I love Mother Nature, but I do understand where you place yourself with no people present can also expose your vulnerability, because you're out there with the intention to conquer the energy and get a reality check that energy is in control here. Like when I surf, right? I know the waves, I know the current, I know what time to hang. But if I was doing it in a specific body of water, then I wouldn't even touch the waves at all. So that's my answer for that. But I think that was meant for you, Goga.
I wanted us to share that answer. And for me, I think it's still a work in progress because energy is working with energy is very, it's a very like, how do I put it? It's like it's always like evolving and stuff. And for me, my small contribution towards just bringing peace into the space and into the earth is just for me. I always take it back to my practice. It is the kind of interactions I have with people, and how do I make people feel after interacting with me? Am I creating more chaos after the interactions, or am I a conduit of like peaceful conversations that can make people do better? Whether they are going to like empower themselves, whether they're going to like help humanity more. And for me, I always believe that is the call. Like, make humanity better based on how they interact with me, and I believe that's my contribution. It's work in progress, because every day you're interacting with different people, and not everybody are going to receive what you are trying to put out there. But I think I'm getting there. So thanks so much, Mr. Shadow. You made me just have to think on top of my head, but I think I love that question, and I wanted us to like share it with PMC just to, yeah, because it's something that is totally, it's a work in progress. It's a work in progress. But every day you interact. I'm talking to PMC right now. We are having a conversation that is building. There's somebody maybe listening, and maybe this is what they needed to like hear. So for me, I always look at my work as a contribution towards making the world a better place. And I think the moment I learned how to look at things that way, it always gives me context, so that at least the ego does not kick in, because so that it's not about me, it's not about my face, it's not how I look, it's not about what I have, but it's about what I'm sharing with the world, and is it making a difference? That's it. So it always puts things into context when I realize that I'm losing my mind. Yeah, yeah. But thank you so much for that question. All right. The next thing I wanted to ask PMC in terms of like maintaining your boundaries, you want finding the balance between giving people grace, while still maintaining healthy boundaries. Like I think somebody said it here during one of the shows. Sometimes you can love people from a distance, and it's okay because it helps you protect your space. Yeah. So talk to us about how do you find that balance between that and also just maintaining those healthy boundaries.
I think with that, you can love people from a distance. Something just like you could want to see them succeed from a distance, but you also can reflect where the things that you told them may come to haunt them later.
Yeah.
And it's out of love, right? There's different types of love. If you love somebody, you're gonna give it to them, good, bad, and indifferent. And sometimes it's hard for people to receive the critical love they get. And that's sometimes what drives people apart. And it's unfortunate that that happens, but there's tons of people in the current space like that right now where I wish them the best, but it's not for me to congratulate them at this time because they have to go through that lesson of rebelling against someone trying to help them first. And that comes with a price tag, Goga. The question is always going to be, are you willing to pay for what you're not willing to accept? And when you turn away genuine help, consequences come with that. And when the same people you turn away aren't there to assist you when you're going through it, now you get to reflect on, well, how you went about it the wrong way. And so absolutely boundaries are important. It's all in how you set things. It's never personal. We don't personally know people on here like that. But I guess just dealing with them as you would somebody that you do in your day-to-day life. It's like, hey, I love you, man, but I gotta keep my distance from you, and I wish you the best, but I just don't want to be around something like that if every which way you're gonna feel that I'm trying to run your life because I'm trying to help you or give you some constructive feedback. You have to cut that ribbon and part ways.
There's a very nice comment I think I want your reaction on. Miss Titi Mix Blog says, not everyone celebrates your growth. Sometimes your success shines a light on their own insecurities.
Yeah, I agree. If a person cannot be happy for you, they envy you. And like the shortcuts, people look, if I may, people have been boosting their channels, right? That's a problem too, Goga. If I may touch on that.
By
People
all
have been
means,
doing that. People have been doing that since the MySpace days, right? And one thing that says is maybe you don't have the confidence enough in self to feel you can genuinely form a connection with strangers to develop friendships. Because what else would you really need to boost for? And I don't respect shortcuts unless I'm on a time critical matter because I'm a farmer. I believe in doing things from the grit and from scratch. I don't believe in taking shortcuts. I want my work to really reflect so I can enjoy it later. Look, Goga, my father, this is one of the things he taught my sisters and I, God rest him. Fun doesn't really begin until after retirement. That's when you get to reflect on the portraitures of your work. It's a compiled set of photos of all your successes for everything you've done. That's when you get to kick your feet up and go travel the world if you're able bodied to, or just sit there and reflect on your successes and achievements. What do they mean to you? Acknowledgments. Do you acknowledge the people or do you acknowledge what you've done? Like you asked me, what would I want to be remembered for? And I said I wouldn't want to be remembered for nothing. But if what I said that impacted somebody's life in a good way and inspired them to do great, then I did my job. I did what I was supposed to.
Uh, Perfect. East African, thank you so much. Please take care of yourself, and let me know when let me know when you're back home safe and sound. Safe and sound. All right. A question came in here. PMC, what kind of content made you subscribe or stay connected? Okay, I think yeah, let me ask it generally. What kind of content makes you subscribe or stay connected?
Well, I like cooking content. I like farming content, obviously. I like music content. I like hacks too. You know, life hacks are interesting. I like
Yeah.
poetry, anything with literature I'm for. Those are the content communities that attract me. And it's strange when I hear, as a joke, when I hear sometimes people say, well, there's beef in the gardening community. I say, really? I mean, what am I going to say? Hey, my garden's better than yours. Come on, we don't need to do that. So yeah, man, it leads you to the point like the competing thing. Competition can be fun, but it can also be bad when it turns to this unhealthy obsession where I need to be better than you. I'm not out here to compete with nobody. If anything, I'm trying to be a better me. Like if I was to switch roles with you in this case and I was the host, one of my questions will be, in which way do you intend to outdo yourself every time you step on this platform? You understand? Because you're always thinking, what have I covered to the point I need to try to do something that I've never done here? What is a conversation you've never had with your audience? And it wasn't about you teaching them anything in regards to YouTube, because I think with connection, we get to know each other on a personal level too. What is it you don't know about the person you've been supporting for as long as you have? And we don't have to go into, closet details, none of that. It's just, what is it that I don't know about you? You understand? Like because I asked this often, Boga, when I'm watching somebody I support, any Q&A answer they give, I'm like, is that the person answering or is that the content creator image
I
answering?
love that. I
You want to
love
get to
that.
know
I
them.
love
Yeah, man.
the creator or yeah, because there are those spaces, like you can be a creator and it can come off very edited and polished. And then of course there is there is now the authentic answer. Kisha is laughing so hard that because she's a gardener, so she's like, oh, the PMC just throw jabs at me. What? Beef in which garden? For me.
It happens.
All right, and then I think there was a nice comment here before I come to that. I actually want to put a spin to the question you asked. Miss Bailey says YouTube is competitive and it's a business. The platform is diverse, and 70% of it is to make money for the app. Then you get a piece. 30% is stuff about personality. And what do you think about this? Because yeah, it's a bit, it's quite long, but I think we can get it there. 30% is stuff about personality, 70% of it is to make money for the app. Then you get a piece. PMC, you left the UG partner program. So for you now, it's really personality, and you're less so that 100% of the content, of course, now your personality, your the things you love, the things you enjoy, the conversations you enjoy. Do you think and this me going back to the you leaving the UG partner program willingly, do you think it changed anything for you, or do you think actually leaving the UG partner program actually made your personality shine more and you did not feel like you have to be at the mercy of the YouTube gods?
I felt like it was something that made my personality shine more, because sometimes monetization can make who you are diminish being true to yourself. Right? Your audience starts to lose the idea of who you are. Look, Goga, let me tell you something, man. And this is not just for YouTube, it's about life. Just because you exist doesn't mean you have an identity. And this is what happens when you're spending so much time trying to be everybody but yourself. That's the result you get. And first of all, like when I talk about freedom, I mean creating my own blueprint, carving my own lane, having my own schematic to follow, so I don't have the success of somebody else. I mean, in originality in every way. And one thing that I feared when I was monetized, I don't want to slip into becoming somebody that I'm not. And why shouldn't authenticity be rewarded? Not financially, because I'm looking to just stay true to me so I can be true and straight up with my audience. And a lot of times, who I love and support dearly, I feel like they're falling into that trap that I was concerned with. And they're not looking at the consequences later, because that is how you lose good people around you when they start to see the rewards that you reap change who you are and change how you are. And so, like I explained, when you tell somebody they changed, did they for the financial benefit, or was that in the plan all along, right? Because people have agendas, man. You know, some have purposes, others have agenda. It's not for me to speak on, but this app has showed you that as time passes. I'm just saying that I love authenticity because that's me. And so that's what attracts me to other channels. I'm like, I never seen that before. So this is what's going to draw me to them. The same way with comments, right? You'll see people sparring in the comment section and disagreeing. And I don't have that kind of time to go back and forth with people. Shorts. I like shorts. Video shorts are great too, but they've also become a hub for hate too. You know, there's some really rude comments in there. And for me, Goga, as long as I've been on this platform, I have never given a video a thumbs down. I've never left a dislikeful comment. I just said that, okay, this isn't really my thing, but I think you have something going here. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna do, I'm not gonna do that.
I just realized, yeah, there's a thumbs, but there's a thumbs down. I just realized there's a thumbs down button, like when we said it, yeah, because you always see it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it happened. You could be the happiest, happy-go-lucky person, and you still gonna get a couple dislikes, man.
Let us do a quick poll on the chat, guys. By a show of hands, okay. Let me ask it the other way because I know this one you guys don't answer. By a show of hands, there are how many people here? There are 30 eyes looking at us right now. By a show of hands, how many of you have never given a video on YouTube a thumbs down? Just raise your hand. There's a pink hand there on the chat. Just raise. If you have never given a video a thumbs down, raise your hand because I think I joined PMC. I've never given a video a thumbs down. Actually, I've never. I've never come to in my life on YouTube. I've never given, even if I don't know the person, even if I don't like it, I've never given it a thumbs down. Let me see the hands. Okay, we have one, empowering generations. Oh, that is my former boss, by the way. Welcome, Flora Kwele. Thank you so much for coming in. Rob has never given a thumbs down. Miss Bailey has never given a thumbs down. Okay, 3 people. We are doing well. We are doing well. We are doing well. Wait, you want to tell me some of you normally give thumbs downs?
No, I can't do that.
Kisha says not intentionally. Kisha, not intentionally. Kisha, that sounds like a politically correct answer. Lexi says I've never given a thumbs down. Okay, quite a number of them. I like that. And PMC, that also takes me just now to the conversation, especially around, you mentioned competition. And yesterday I was on a live team and there was a very interesting conversation going on. And I like what somebody on the chat talked about competition. And I was like, they got me reflecting. And I was like, oh my God, I've never actually competed with anybody on YouTube because I think I'm so convicted in my own self that I believe I'm doing something extremely unique that nobody else can do, that I've never thought of YouTube as a place I need to compete with anybody. Like, it has never occurred to me. Like, literally, like, even from like, and this I'm speaking from like a very honest place. And so I was like so surprised when I saw that comment. I'm like, I don't think it's about competition. Like, I don't think I'm competing with anyone. Like, I think it's just about like, you are, because I think I felt that they're collecting knowledge from very deep, many places. And I think it's getting them into a place where now it's too much and, maybe it's not even the right information. So I did not look at it as a competition thing because from my perspective, I don't think, because literally we do different things. PMC, you do your own content. Rob does his own content. Lexi does like her own content. Miss TikTok does her own content. Rezu does his own content. Like, we'll never be the same. There'll be never. There'll be no any other PMC. There'll be no any other Goga. So I'm always very convinced in that because when you started your YouTube channel, you started as your own. And PMC, at least, the good thing you've seen me before monetization, so at least you have the benefit of seeing my struggle.
Right.
It was the yoga, it was the conversations, and at least that may have stayed consistent. But the competition thing, of course, a lot of creators now start getting that competition thing post monetization, because you and I have been in enough live streams to see how maybe PMC is getting more super chats than me. Maybe it becomes like a whole thing, and sometimes I see it even gets communities like totally like having a whole war. Why is PMC not on my chat? Why is PMC not my member? Things like conversations like this. So do you think monetization pretty much zooms this thing? This was the agenda all along, or because when it comes to content, I believe we are all unique. But I think now when it comes to the revenue aspects, I think now YouTube is like YouTube puts us in an arena. May the best man win. We need to make money because, of course, they're a business. They have to make sure that we are doing this.
Well, I mean, sometimes that is the plan. Some people know what they're gonna do before they do it, and a lot of folks have an axe to grind when they're not getting a specific place, because the question then becomes, why do you have this and I don't? Everybody can get it all together. It depends on how hard you're willing to work towards it. And this is one of the things that I learned all the way back to when I was starting to go for monetization with the African and Jamaican community. When I came up with them, so many of them had the same question, like, why am I not growing? And again, back then, Goga, you know how it was. The terms were different. Like, we would exchange, hey, let's run each other's playlists so we can start to see where it's gonna
Yeah,
take us. And people, it was more prevalent back then. Nowadays, more people are out for self. And I do understand, we have to look out for our own channels, but you would save yourself some time by telling folks, well, no, I'm not gonna run your playlist. Because one thing I don't like, and people do it, oh, I got you, I'm gonna do this for you, and they don't. Again, it's gotten to the point where people will say, I'll run this, and then they'll fast forward the time dial all the way to the end of the video, screenshot it, and say, there you go, I watched the video. and, and again, that's petty, but people do that. Like, I feel like this. Just tell the person, no, I'm not gonna watch your video. I can't run your playlist. And again, to
yeah.
be fair for everybody, because of financial situations, right? Some people may not have an extra device to really run you, so we have to be considerate for them too.
Absolutely. Winston says, I've never given a thumbs down. Kisha says, yes, I've given a thumbs down, but it was on negative comments. Okay, that's exception. That's exceptional. We get it. Thank you for that clarity, Kisha. I got it. Yeah, like it was a negative comment, so I had to give it a thumbs down. Probably because you could not remove it, right? I've had occasion to remove negative comments on people's videos. If you're a moderator, you can do that. And then Rob says, I learn from many people. Miss Titi says, I love to see others excel. I love to see others excel. I like how the number of you have never given a thumbs down. You are nice people. You are really good people. You are really good people. I like that. Miss Bailey, thanks so much for that super sticker. Appreciate it. Thanks so much. May your pot brim in abundance. Thank you so much for that. Let me see. Kisha says, I do not compete. However, I watch and try to emulate those that I admire and and respect their garden tricks and tips, their vlog style and editing skills. Absolutely. Absolutely. Empowering generation, thanks so much for that super sticker. Back to what PMC was asking me when he flipped the question, things that are not related to like lessons and Sunday service. So empowering generations is my former boss when I used to work in government, and I hosted the Sunday service like some months ago, and so empowering generations, and what my old teacher from primary school once came to my live stream. And I think that is the day I think people saw like a totally different side of me, because I just like got all emotional because these were good people who impacted a part of my life that nobody ever sees on YouTube. So empowering generations was she was like my immediate boss. I used to report to her when I used to work in public service. And then my teacher from primary school, which is like over 20 years ago, she came and almost made me cry on a live stream. And everybody was just like, oh, stuff like that, because we are human beings, but we also have lives beyond YouTube. We choose what we can share. Like for me, I came to YouTube to teach and to do my yoga and have fun, and probably have amazing people to share their experiences and life stories, like PMC at the Sunday service. I love that thing. I love fostering dialogues. I like fostering conversations. But I think when these two people came to my life team, and I think they reminded me of a certain place in my real life. I think I got them. I think that's the day I got the most vulnerable, and I think people are so shocked. I think on the platform, and that's when I realized that, oh, I never really share so much about my personal life, because my personal life has never been the content. And even PMC, you've been always been very clear about this, even for you, your wife, and they're just snippets that people will get, but it never becomes the content. And
Right.
that is one thing is that to make peace with that. My personal life was never the content. My craft is the content, and that is what I came to YouTube to share. So occasionally you may have moments popping in, because you are a human being. You can never like pretend for so long. There are people who know you in real life beyond YouTube. And that is what happened with the foreign generations at my teacher Christine. For those of you who saw that teacher Christine live stream, that was a very public live stream. And I think have it in public. But yes, the moral of the story, just to answer PMC, is you can never pretend for so long. I mean, I've been on YouTube for 6 years. If I was pretending on YouTube, I mean, I would have already lost the mask by now. You can never
Right.
pretend for so long. There are certain things that when they happen, like how do you react when somebody is being oppressed? It's an instinct. It's how you deal with human beings. You don't like seeing people being treated badly. It is those subtle things that bring out the real essence of you as a human being. And for me,
Right.
I always say that is what I really appreciate about spaces. When I go into any particular space, energy is always very important for me. Like, if I'm out of alignment, I'm not going to stay there. I'll be out. I'll be out. I will not even say anything. I'll be gone. I'll be gone. But there are some places you get there and you just feel nice. You feel warm. You're like, this feels like home. These are the kind of people I like talking to. I like this topic. They're talking about wellness. They're talking about spirituality. They're talking about those things really excite me in a sense. You will find me there. They're talking about receipts, but they're very helpful receipts. I will stay there for sure. But if it's like a war, you're fighting, people are like having drama, somebody's insulting somebody else, you'll never find me there. Nope. It's bad for my energy. I'm out. I'm out. So that's why I choose the places I go to answer what Miss Bailey official was asking. We did get a question again from wait, before I miss this one. Miss Titi is saying, some people try to keep others small by discouraging them from connecting with positive people, but the right relationships help you grow, while the wrong ones keep you stuck. Absolutely, absolutely. And then PMC, Mr. Shadow asked us another question. PMC and Goga, where do you find the most peace and inspiration?
Nature.
Nature. He said nature. He said nature. I find the most peace on my mat. On my mat, it's where I'm always the most peaceful. Not working, not like trying to save the world. It's always on the mat when I'm like either doing your yoga or meditating. I find the most peace there, because I am in that. It's the most present I am. Like I'm in that moment, like without the chaos that happen around the world. For PMC, it's nature, of course, and there's a lot of nature. PMC, I love that. I love that live stream you did by the ocean. I think that was amazing. Yeah. Right. Let me see if I missed any question. Okay. All the above, beloveds. Welcome, Cece. Nice to see you. Thank you so much for coming in. Miss Bailey says, I got my car toned for no reason and I created content out of it. I got the highest views from it. Look at the life of a content creator. The guy is being told that you remembered that you're a content creator in that moment. You started recording. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. You did not waste the content. PMC, let's talk about social media, because you've never it's been years now, and you've still managed to stay away from social media, and you're alive and breathing, and nothing wrong happened. the fear of missing out is not like has not run you into like an asylum or anything. Um, and I like what Miss Billy says here, that I'm really nice on social media and I have some rough times in life and I post it on YouTube. Okay. So how have you been able to stay away from social media, PMC, when everybody is demanding that you join these spaces and platforms? Like, but of course you're not conventional, so I mean it will not really work on you. But literally everywhere you look, there's always like something that is being pushed towards you to join and things like that. How do you stay sane and not be able to like join the bandwagon?
Well, it's easy for me, because it's a reminder how easy it is to say no. I don't think like people try to make it as if there's a lot of energy into refusing. It's easy for me, right? I have no interest in doing social media. It's not my thing, and I'm a traditionalist. Like I wonder often, especially now, what would the world be like without social media in it? We might operate in a whole nother way. And
Yeah.
this wave of AI, I'm not really a fan of things of that nature. Like when people say, you should do this, I said no thanks. I'd be straying away from who I am by doing that. And sometimes what is a pet peeve of mine is when people say it's not that deep, but those are the same people that would never understand why I operate the way I do. And when people participate in the things they enjoy, they allow it to consume them, right? People aren't changed by anything. It's what you allow. And when you're having so much fun at the expense of distorting your relationships with good people, that's when it becomes a problem. As I said about competing, right? Who are you competing against? Because it turns into an unhealthy obsession with, I want to be better than you. I'm not out here to be better than nobody, right? We're all on here for different reasons. That's none of my business. I'm just doing what works for me. But like I say, when you're so busy taking in recommendations, Goga, you forget to think about what you think about what you should do. And the minute that's the case, you got a problem, man, because that's like you, right? You just one day decide, I'm not doing yoga anymore. Well, what next?
Yeah.
And the people who have recommended you do other things, they're not really going to care if you just gave up yoga because they don't understand what it means to you. Just like you wouldn't understand whatever they engage in means to them. It's vice versa, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's like, yeah, it's just thought of cooking. Somebody once asked me, Goga, why I've never seen you cooking on your channel. I just like never thought about it. Vice versa for sure. um, PMC, when you're faced like with uncertainty, when you're uncertain about a decision, and this just like maybe goes maybe in terms of your content direction, and also just the fact that also just make sure that your judgment is not clouded and somebody does you're not out of alignment with what you actually want to do on this platform. So when you're faced with that level of uncertainty, what are some of the questions you normally ask yourself to make a decision, and also just to chart the best way forward for your content creation journey, or even the kind of stuff you want to share on this platform?
What happens if I lose myself? I don't think content
Um,
creators ask themselves that because they're having so much fun in the moment of success. And sometimes the same success that builds you is the success that can kill you. Literally. There comes a
wow.
consequence with that. People don't understand. You're having so much fun, but what about having fun to the point you forget what's important? And like my content, I'm a self-proclaimed philosopher, so my job is to give you something to think about. And if you say to me, it's not that deep, I'll have no response. Just to give you the chess answer, checkmate. Just because, sometimes people need to pause and be like, what is it everyday people don't ask you? And
Yeah.
that can lead you to think, well, how much of their thought process are they putting to work? I like to pick somebody's brain so I can know who I'm dealing with. The same way you said, energy means a lot. And to answer Mr. Shadow's question, I love art. Art conversation is artistic. You
Yeah.
understand? So like I said, Goga, in that regards, man, what happens when you lose yourself? Because everything is not meant to be content. And some of the things that people present and produce on here can tank their channel, can get them in personal problems where police might get involved. First of all, remember this live stream right now. A federal agent could be watching this. A serial
Yeah.
killer could be watching this. We don't know. Yeah, man. Seriously. You never know, man. You have to think about stuff like that because again, the numbers they fluctuate. But you ever ask yourself, even if it's not running you ragged, who's really watching me and why are they watching me? You don't know,
Yeah.
man.
Someone is always watching. Someone is always watching. When it comes to you've also there's something, the art of observation. You've always described yourself also as an observer.
Right.
Um, what have you learned by simply by simply watching instead of reacting? And I there's a time I think I was having a conversation with somebody on this platform, and they said you stay in the bushes too much. And I'm like, yeah, the bushes always give you context before you participate in a conversation. Like by the time I say hi to you in a conversation, I've gotten the context of what you're talking about, the mood of the chat, for me to know that I can participate in this conversation. So what are some of the things that you actually pick by observing more as opposed to reacting? Because I think sometimes we are always so eager to react to be seen that we are there, as opposed to just understanding the dynamics that maybe you could have missed in the process of like reacting.
Well, observation plays in more ways than one. And one thing, like when I observe who not to tell what, because a lot of what you voluntarily tell people can really hurt you. Because
Hmm.
let's say it's over 60-40. Some people are going to take what you said and go tell everybody who can't stand you. So we have to be mindful what we share. There's consequences with everything, Goga. And remember, good decisions even have a punishment that follow. You could be following YouTube guidelines 100%, and tomorrow you may not have a channel. This happens all the time. So it's kind of like you can even get punished for doing what's responsible, not necessarily trying to be right, but that's the narrative the world has painted, right? People will say, well, you're trying to be right about everything. I'm not, but can I be responsible? I can only be those things if I'm allowed to. Remember, I don't have a problem asking somebody, please. It's common courtesy. And if your parents didn't teach you that, that's a personal thing. But my come up is just I'm direct, and that's what a lot of people don't like, and that's all right. But I would rather somebody just be straightforward with me than sell me because again, I don't know how to operate like that. So what draws me to connecting with people, Goga, is their honesty. And remember what drew you to my channel. I had somebody say to me in my live stream 2 days ago, who's a newly subscribed channel. She was like, when I came across your channel, the energy spoke to me. I had no intention of staying for the long haul, but something about you draws me to you. So I subscribed. I even have a subscriber who's no longer with us. God rest his soul and God rest Brother Juba. May he rest in peace, power, and paradise. Respectfully.
Yeah.
My supporter all day I am. I gained his support by a quote of mine that I had, and he's deceased now. God rest his soul. Respect. So you never know what you could inspire with somebody. But the thing about my chats, Gogo, you've been a guest in my streams as I've been in yours. You understand that when is the proper time to be honest? Because people take it offensively. You're insensitive. Well, if I don't tell you the truth, I wouldn't want your support. I wouldn't want to gain subscribers off lying to people. I can't get on camera and tell somebody I'm something I'm not. I can't do that because I have a conscience that bothers me. So I just feel like this: be yourself 100% and understand you're going to get backlash when you're being you. I never knew that you could try too hard to be you. I saw that in the comment the other day about someone, this person's trying too hard. And I was like, trying too hard to be themselves? How does that work? If I can't be myself, I don't understand, man. Help me. I don't know.
100%. Uh, Welcome, Uncle Barry. Nice to see Uncle Barry. How you doing? Welcome. And then I like what Sisi said. I like what Sisi said. We came for the support and remained for the realness. Like as the kids will say, clock it. I love that. I love that. I love that statement, Sisi. And I think I also like what Sisi said about. There's something Sisi said about. And even a compliment is still a judgment or discernment. 100%. 100%, 100%. For me, I always look at sometimes the statement you say can also be an endorsement of sorts. It can either be like, when you speak, sometimes it can also be an endorsement. And sometimes if you speak when something something horrible is happening, it may am I making am I part of this craziness? Am I part of the chaos that I'm causing in this person's life and something like that? So that's also very important. It's also part of the discernment. Okay. We are now just having reflections in terms of just discernment and like what is discernment for you, like as a content creator? If you're on the chat, feel free to like let us know what you're thinking. Like when it comes to like discernment in the content creation space, PMC, we sometimes often confuse visibility with value, you know, um, because sometimes, yeah, visibility is good, but sometimes not all visibility is the right kind of visibility that you want. Um, what is like your take, especially what are some of the mistakes you see like creators make it because they are confusing this aspect of visibility with value? Because yes, you may be offered an opportunity that is going to like that is going to probably push you out there, but sometimes it's not the right kind of visibility. Maybe it's like visibility in the, maybe it's not even the space that you want your channel to be profiled, or maybe it's not the space you want to be promoted or things like that.
Wanting to be seen for the wrong reason, too concerned with seeking validation from complete strangers and what they think. Sometimes to the point where you forget, what do I think about me? And again, it comes with being social in the sense letting others cloud your judgment, where it makes you start to be like, am I doing anything right? Because more people will remind you of your mistakes than
Yeah.
credit you for any good you contribute to the world in full. And one thing is you have to remember, it's nothing wrong with credit in self. I don't think there's nothing narcissistic. You should celebrate self. You have to love yourself so you can love somebody else. And visibility, it can be good, but it can be bad also. Like when you're doing something for the wrong reason, but you have the right intention. And having the intention can be costly depending on which way it's meant. And
Mhm.
like you talked about boundaries earlier, sometimes we forget to set any. When's the last time you forgot to set one and it cost you something that was valuable? That's what I ask folks. Like, it's cost me some things, and I'm like, I have nobody to blame but me. So when I drop the ball, I'm like, well, I can't get upset at nobody but me. And if you don't check yourself, your emotions are gonna get intact when someone else checks you. And this is what I love about genuinity, right?
Mhm.
How many people on this app that are connected to you can you genuinely call friends that you had a heart to heart discussion with? And even if you disagree with what everything they said, they needed that. It made you better for how you come out. Because I've had a lot of those discussions. And I can tell you by name some of the dearest people I love on this app. Like I personally know them. What's up, Kay?
Hey Kay, welcome Kay. There's some very interesting questions coming through on the chat. Oh, you guys are listening. I'm always happy when I see questions to the guests so that I'm not like monopolizing the guests. Kisha says, I get that statement, PMC. I personally struggle with imposter syndrome and often doubt myself. Thank you for sharing that, Kisha. PMC, maybe you can speak to this because I know this is something that a lot of us also just navigate, especially when you are on this particular platform. So, what is your take on this?
Do everything you can to be yourself and everything you can to not become somebody else. Don't model yourself after someone else, right? Because what happens, and I don't have all the answers, but what happens is you get their results. Remember when I said earlier about pursuing originality? I want to be authentic as possible. How come none of us here have noticed somebody go viral for doing something that's never seen? And sometimes I wonder, and again, I wonder, is that because longevity isn't respected by everybody? Instead of you being credited for lasting the test of time when everybody's telling you you're too old or you can't do this anymore, you do slow down, but this doesn't entirely stop you from thriving, right? Success comes in many forms. It just depends on your hunger, how driven you are. And remember, Goga, we can't really elevate somebody who's not willing to pick up self.
I love that. I love that. I love that. I like this. I like that. I like that advice. It's a very beautiful piece of advice. Okay, Good Vibes K is like telling me that she's better. I know she had to see a dentist and had a root canal thingy. Glad that you're getting better. There's a beautiful question here. Let me read a statement first, and then I come to the question. So, empowering generations. My former colleague and boss says, I agree with the fact that someone is always watching. I got into trouble with my boss for being overly present in meetings. Oh my goodness. Somebody is always watching. Somebody is always. You'll never see me live during working hours for a reason because because you never have control. You don't know who has sent the boss the link to the live stream. Even if you block everybody. I can never be seen live during working hours. Even if I'm free, I can never do it. PMC, there's a day, confession. There's a day, I think it was a very slow day at work. And let me tell you, my office is so fancy. Like, there's a section there that is so fancy. I've always wanted to do a live stream there. But then every time I'm like, even the days I get to the office early and I'm like, it's not yet 8 o'clock. Have you ever heard that inner voice that tells you don't do it? 1 year, 6 months later, the voice is still the same. I've never done a live stream in that section of the office because it's working hours, it's the office. Somebody may always be watching, and that is always the voice. That's what the voice always tells me. You never know. Somebody may always be watching, and they may send this to the boss or something, and it can get you into trouble. So I listen to that intuition a lot. But oh God, it's so fancy. It's a very fancy. One day, guys, one day when you see that place, you'll understand why. But who knows? One day. Uh, Miss Miss Bailey is asking, how do we balance our emotions when we are uncomfortable with topics or thoughts? PMC. Woo, that's deep.
But again, it's easy. Some of the most profound things aren't the most basic. Balance is something that comes with time, Miss Bailey. And one thing that I learned, especially from my father, the deceased, any lessons they teach you become that much more strong when they die. And one of the things that he would tell my sisters and I as kids is, to make people comfortable, you have to make them feel uncomfortable first. Now, some of you may disagree, and that's completely fine. But how many conversations do you have with people and you skip over the root? That's where the problem's at. You got to get to the crux so we can understand what we're trying to figure out here. And I've had conversations in my live streams, and it's cost me support, and that's completely fine. Nobody owes me anything. But it's almost like, if I could ask those people the same question today, I'd always wonder, would their answer remain the same, or would they say, well, I'm sorry, let me resubscribe, even though they don't owe me that. It's just, I would like to hear their perspectives, because I feel like mental health is a discussion that's overlooked. But
Yep.
I told, shout out Joyful Julie Goga, I told her niece, because we were discussing ADHD, she has it. So I told her I'm sorry about that. And she said, why are you apologizing? And I said, well, because society wants to make you feel like a freak because you were diagnosed with something you didn't ask to be born with. And consideration goes a long way. So, the more uncomfortable conversations that we can talk about, I think that's a recipe for promise going forward. Because if not, then every discussion we have is just going to be, well, what if we could change? Until we stop doing the what if thing, that's the only time we're actually going to see change. And until then, hopefully that answers your question.
I like this. This is a very beautiful question. I actually like it, and I think I want to just pick the brains. I just want to pick the thoughts of what PMC said earlier, also in terms of, to some extent, sometimes as creators we become teachers, because the moment you decide to put your content out there, you are teaching somebody something that maybe they did not know how to. This is how there's a way you can add a spice and the food will taste a certain way. Maybe they did not know that there's a way you can approach, a Tai Chi move that brings more harmony into the into the flow or something like that. But it can even be fitness. Maybe there's a better way of placing your wrist so that you don't like injure your wrist during like some push up or something like that. In that essence, you become a teacher in a sense. Um, and sometimes I think what I like what you say that sometimes you may not sometimes I think I find a lot of wisdom, especially like engage in engage in topics and approach topics and thought leadership on things that you are very things that you're very comfortable discussing, not because you're getting pressure to like discuss them, not because they are trending, but also you want to have a level of you've either done your research or you want to have a level of knowledge over the kind of topics you're discussing. Because again, this is YouTube, it's a very big platform. As you never know who may be watching. It may be the professor who invented that framework that may be watching you right there. And they may think that why is this person just dabbling in my expertise as a hobby? Yet I'm the authority figure on this. So it also helps, and at least you have a very strong level of comfort in terms of discussing those particular topics, like you understand like that quote I shared with you guys like a few months ago is like this is the internet. uh, there's a certain expertise you bring as a content creator, but there are people who also double in your expertise as a hobby. They know nothing. They know nothing. They just see it's fun and it's trendy, so they'll just start weighing in on it. So also like that level of knowledge and research also helps a lot in terms of how you package what you want to share. Let me say that I can get this. There's a very beautiful statement here. PMC, I think these guys are asking very amazing questions. I like this statement by Empowering Generations, and Empowering Generations says, where did I? It's a very long one, but I think I lost it. Hey, Special Ability, how you doing? Special Ability is shouting PMC. Okay, I think I lost it. There's a way this stream normally throws comments off sometimes, and yeah, I think I got it. I think I got it. Uh, Empowering Generations says, many struggle with visibility wounds so much so that people get sick from not getting enough likes and views. Healing looks like being comfortable with my 5 followers and still being proud about man. Your tech PMC, this is a very solid one.
I mean, I agree though. Like again, I always say, go. But one thing that I had, that I share this bond with one of my supporters, Cheyenne. She's Jamaican too. Um, we were discussing this in her live stream 2 days ago about
Yeah.
never asking to be shared out. I never ask people to share me out. I don't ask for likes. And some of them say, "Well, why not?" I said, "Well, I want you to naturally feel that I'm deserving of a like." To put it to them that way. So I say I don't chase the likes. I chase the light because the light is helping me see things clearer as I journey through this. That's why I'm doing chapter 6.
I love that. I love that. And you're very categorical on that, even on your live stream. That's why I think I wanted to raid you. And I was like, no, PMC never,
Yeah.
never likes me raid. I'm like, no, PMC has warned us about this before. So I had to like stop myself because you were live when I was ending the stream, and I was like, maybe I should send people over to PMC. And then it just occurred to me, and you had said it, I think, once on a live stream. Okay. And then Professor Green is adding, yeah, true, and not because of hype, but authenticity, 100%, 100%. PMC, just talking about the conversation around discernment in the creator space. When somebody feels like they have to say yes to every opportunity because they're afraid another one won't come, what is your take on this? Because sometimes opportunities come and somebody feels that obligation that they need to like be jumping on all of them.
Well, saying yes to everything causes a problem, because now it's giving off the idea that anything you say yes to, you're going to be able to deliver. And that's going to have more people upset at you because they're expecting you to do what you said yes to. And again, it's nothing wrong with saying no, right? We all have times where we get told no. And trust
Yeah.
me, Goga, for me, I don't get upset if somebody says no, I can't do this, and I'm like, thanks for that. I'm more self reliant to the point where I'm not prideful in the sense that I'm too good. I feel like I'm too good to ask for help. I have no problem if I need help. I won't have a issue reaching out to somebody, but saying yes constantly can get you stuck, and then it can also burn bridges with people because they're expecting you to do everything you said yes to. It's like me telling you, Goga, if you ever need something, I'm here, and that's unrealistic because I may not even be alive to deliver. So that's when it becomes realistic. Like, um if I'm in the position to do so, then yes, you have my word because my word is all I have.
Right. Um, Miss Baylis is of a different opinion. Let me give you a debate opportunity. I can respect that, PMC, but the YouTube algorithm builds the like, share, and subscribe buttons to engage and interact with the audience. Your take?
Well, I'm post monetized. I'm not monetized no more by choice, Miss Bailey, so I'm free. Yeah,
That's great.
I don't disagree with that though.
Yeah. No, no, and I think Miss Bailey, I totally agree with PMC because it really depends. Like, it's I don't know. Sometimes it's like I think, but I think it comes with time. You have to be like, I think it comes with time as a creator, where you realize that there's a way you are now very intentional in terms of the connections and the relationships, and there's a way you want them. And not you're not going like you don't just want support because for the sake of it. There's even a point. There's even a time like even the subscribers. You like there's a I think there's a was it Miss I think it was 60 plus and Sophie yesterday on her live stream. She's working so hard to get 1,000 subscribers. But there's something she said when I sent the raid after my yoga session, and I think it really stuck with me. It's like she welcomed everybody. She never actually asked people to like or subscribe. She actually said, if you think that have earned the like, it was the way she said it so beautifully. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is powerful. Like it's yeah. And in case you've and then she went on and said that, and in case you've like stayed this long by now and you think you're what subscribing to my channel, I kindly do it. Like there's a way it was not like expected. There's a way it's like do it if you want to, but no pressure to it. And I think I really liked that level of humility when it comes to creating content. So, but yes, I think it comes with time. I think it comes with time. It comes with time, and you have to transcend the crazy number, the value of the numbers for sure. Um, right. And then there's then speaking of numbers, PMC, and because now we have that conversation around numbers. Um, how do you normally recognize that growth is genuine versus when it's simply chasing the numbers? And I know you talked about the boosting somewhere in there,
Yeah,
but how do you normally this for you growth? Because as an observer, it's easy to pick these things as opposed to somebody who's chasing the numbers.
I think when the comments dictate this, right? Because remember, one of my funniest memories early on when I did one of my very first live streams, and I left it up before I started to private everything.
Yeah.
I had a comment, guys, like great video, and I said thanks. What did you think was great about it? He said, I don't know. So, well, one of the things I take away from this, I've had people Goga tell me that some of my comments are really nice, but they're too long. And I don't get bothered by it because I'm like, I did my job as what a supporter is supposed to do. So the Q&A thing is like, what kind of supporter are you? Because there's different types of supporters, right? Some people are trying to get ahead and get sub for sub. I don't do that. But my thing is, I'm thankful for somebody taking the time out of their day to give me details, because details often let you know somebody appreciates everything you do versus great video. And I love elaboration. How can I tell you this is a great stream if I can't follow up with elaborating why? So looking back at that, it's funny, but in a serious tone, it's like, well, what did you really think was great? Did you think the conversation amongst everybody was great? Did you think a specific perspective was great? I mean, what did you think was great about it, man?
You're just echoing what Professor Green was saying earlier, like on YouTube, like commenting on a pork dish, yummy, and you never eat it. Just Yeah, so he's just giving that as an example, right there, even just adding into that authenticity conversation. That was a good one, Prof. That was a good one. Just laughing here. What's so great about it, even in terms of just being intentional? And guys, I welcome those long comments because even me, I leave long comments because I never want to like just. Analysis is very easy because you can even structure Gemini to like actually give you the comment, the thoughts very nicely on what you want to say about the video. So that it's not just nice, great, yummy, tasty,
Right.
good. Yeah. Yeah, because those ones are very, yeah, those ones are very like guys, leave something useful on somebody's comment section. Um, in terms of learning from the mistakes, you once said that to pick, you need to picture mistakes before you decide to correct them. That statement was, I think, a bit loaded. What are some of like your thoughts, especially when it comes to learning from mistakes, not just as a creator, but also just life generally as you're growing? And why is it important to like picture those mistakes as you figure out how you're going to navigate them and use them as a lesson?
Well, I was great today. I could be greater tomorrow. I like to visualize failure first before I envision success, which is meant to be first, because you have to accept failure before you learn to succeed. And I can live with that at this point in my life. Like if somebody say, you could do better, or what is your absolute best? Have you given your best? Is that the best you got? I would say no. If you were to ask me, do I have my masterpiece or my classic? I would tell you I don't know what that looks like yet. I'm not in a position to do so. Maybe chapter 7, if I'm still here, God willing. You never
Yeah.
know. And sometimes it's trying to learn to crawl before you walk. But people try to do walking first. You got to take things in steps. And I think that's what helps us become better at whatever it is we do on here. Because, there are some people who are YouTubers, and then you have other people who are just on YouTube, whether in pursuit of trying to start an enterprise or just out here for hobby like me, and to pass time. The grandest reward I ever received from this was not a super chat, was not a super sticker. It was the power of community and union.
Community. I love that. We need PMC, when you reflect on like just even like and this can even go beyond content creation. When you look back, which of your mistakes has become like one of your greatest teachers?
Stop calling everybody a friend just because you connect with them.
Ooh, wow.
Because those same
That's deep.
people, hurt you, even if you don't take it personal. It's kind of like it stings a bit when you want to mean well for them, but for some reason they take it otherwise, and then they try to spin the narrative as if you're not trying to be helpful, because then it leaves you like, I didn't, I don't question the intention of helping somebody, but at this point, Goga, I kind of back off, and it's good for both parties because I don't want to hinder somebody by trying to help them neither. So it's bittersweet.
Nice. Um, Talking about peace, because that's also one of the things, prioritizing your peace. People often think that peace is something that you go looking for, like something to find, like it's a treasure to hunt for.
Right.
Uh, do you think peace is something that you go looking for, or do you think your peace is something that you actually protect?
It's a bit of both, because
Yeah.
connecting with the wrong folks, exchanging energy with the wrong folks can strip you of your inner peace. That's your grandest superpower. The same way I
Mm,
explained earlier, what's the most valuable thing that one could possess that doesn't have the equivalent to a desire, your dignity. You understand? So, like I said
yeah.
about the grandest reward being for me, my community has done things for me that I can never repay them for. And I hold them to a high standard. That's why I value them, because my community is valuable. Possessions aren't. And I don't have nobody in my back pocket, but I will always remind you that if it wasn't for my community, I wouldn't even be in the position that I'm in. So I think sometimes when people get to a certain, position of heights, they forget to thank those that got them there. And who will we be if we just took the credit for ourselves? Go, I'm not selfish. It's like my community gets the credit for this because they got me to where I'm at.
Peace can also feel threatened because do you think peace like is threatened by other people, or it goes back to our inability sometimes to say no?
Well, I think peace is a threat because of the sense that the poor decisions we make, like opening up to the wrong folks that you kind of see. Look, remember what I said about observation. I observe what people say to other people and the reception they get, and then that leads me to be like, my observation tells me not to say nothing to that person because I saw how somebody else said something in good nature and just got backlash all because they meant well. So learn who not to say what to because 90% of those people are going to flip what you said and go tell everybody that doesn't like you already. So it's a valuable lesson to be learned. You know, just limit what you say and be careful who you say it around and who you say it to.
Okay. And when it comes to like just still on these peace conversations, like how do you like continuously, because for me I believe peace is something that has to like be something you nurture daily. You know, it's something that you have to keep nurturing daily, because I think when I'm at peace, I'm able to approach my content creation in a better way. When I'm at peace, I'm not going to be like pain in the backside to people when they interacted with me. When I'm at peace, I'm able to like enjoy the content creation journey in all its forms. So that it is the live stream, whether it is creating a funny shot, whether it is having conversations like this on chapter 6. How do you jealously like guard your peace, especially on platforms such as YouTube? You know, and not feel like even like guilty about it, because I think for me I think it gets to a very nice level where you don't apologize for your peace, and you intentionally keep nurturing that peace in all your interactions, even in your space as a content creator.
Well, for me, staying in a people free ecosystem keeps me grounded. And one thing about loyalty and care is it can't be engineered. You have to nurture that. So a lot of times people are programmed to operate a certain way, and then that's when you start to forget who you truly are. And from one day to the next, you ever met somebody, Goga, not on YouTube, but in person that was dressed as somebody other than themselves while trying to be somebody other than who they really are and who you know them to be? Because you can know somebody 50 years and never expect them to do the worst thing to you that can cost you everything. I know people like that. And sometimes when you give the wrong folks access to your life, they'll sink everything you intend to sell for. Back to the wave referencing, right? You know, sometimes when you provide an opportunity to folks, Goga, that wave you give them isn't good enough, so it turns to entitlement. You owe me this. I don't owe you anything. The same way we don't owe each other support. Now, if someone's going to be upset at direct conversation and honesty, I thought that's what we were supposed to do. Be honest with one another, which is why we're connected to one another, right? I wouldn't connect to somebody if I questioned everything they did. And that's part of skepticism, right? If you're leading off to be what you're not, it's going to come out later. So just be you. Don't try to be nobody else because someone's going to tell you anyway. Well, Goga's trying to be Rob Allbanks. I'm like, they have nothing in common regarding their content. You understand?
Even Rob will laugh at that.
Yeah.
That was a good joke. Rob, I know you're listening in the bushes, but yes, on a light that. And speaking of just peace, because sometimes prioritizing your peace means you have to like outgrow it's other places, and sometimes that's why people even like relocate and you move to like a different country or location.
Right.
Um, a conversation, or sometimes even sometimes it's even like a version of you, like I like what you said earlier. The version of PMC in chapter 1 is not the version in chapter 6. Something happened in between there. How do you usually know that you've outgrown not just places, not just conversations, but also versions of yourself. Because I think for me that is like a very that's the most explicit expression of growth.
I think inside of us lies a staircase. Some of us aren't climbing the steps every day, and we are supposed to change. So some people change for the better or the worse. We're supposed to make that change. You know, it's part of evolving to be a better
Yeah.
us, which is the hardest test that I face. Like I look in the mirror some days, Goga, and I don't feel like I'm looking at a proper reflection. My outline is the posture is in question because I'm still trying to keep grounded. Some days I lose my footing, man, like anybody else, but I can only speak for me. It's, okay to say I'm wrong. And a lot of times people won't because for whatever reason, it's just, I don't know. I don't have all the answers, but I'm getting better with that as I age. I'd be like, man, I could really rework how I approach some things. I'm not above reproach, but for me, I think it's gotten easier at this point even if it costs me subs going forward. It's always going to be like that when we have these gritty conversations because they're not had enough, so people don't take to it well. And I think that's what's an ingredient missing from some of these live streams. If I can't contribute how I truly feel without somebody trying to bind my hands, I don't belong in that place.
Okay. And there's something I think I wanted. There's a very nice comment that came through. I think that can tie to those thoughts. And this was by Soul Stars Connections, a.k.a. CC. Oh, guys, sorry, I need to like stop calling people with their real names because of how I know them on YouTube, so that people can like know their channel names. So anytime I say CC, I'm talking about Soul Stars Productions, and she says we may need to be conscious of the word deserve because it could be a trap word for self-sabotage and harboring resentments. Speaking from experience and observation. And I think PMC, you alluded to this earlier, like that aspect of entitlement
Yeah.
and things like that, like no one owes you, no one owes you. And I think the earlier you accept that, the better it is for yourself. Guys, I welcome questions on the chat. In case you have any question for PMC, I know it's almost 3 hours. Time flies at the Sunday service like crazy. I can't even believe like it's almost 3 hours now. In case you have any questions, Rob is like, I better not catch Goga trying to be Rob. I can't even do it. maybe, maybe unless I'm eating there's a time I think Rob went to like was it like there's something he was eating. I think it was an Asian restaurant or something. Yeah, I think that day you took yourself to an Asian restaurant, you decided to wear a nice shirt. That's the only thing I can do, Rob. I liked that level of drama. I was like, I relate to this. I can pull this stunt. Um, Oh my goodness, that was funny. We welcome questions on the chat. Once again, guys, if you've not yet connected to my brother PMC, please make sure that you're part of this. For you to have these kind of conversations, make sure you at least you're part of that beautiful channel. As I say, this is chapter 6. So PMC and I have it's like we have our like we kind of made a pact and we did not even plan it. And so every year we've collaborated like every single year. So he comes to the Sunday service or the Wednesday show, and we call this chapter 6. This is our sixth major collaboration on the YouTube platform. So chapter 5 you'll find it in May last year. Chapter 4 you'll find it in April in 2024. And it's I'm trying to align it with the month. So like chapter 7, if that happens, that should be probably in July next year when it comes to the panel. So every year at least I always know I have a standing date. He's the only guest who has a standing date at the Goga channel. And he's been very consistent at it because you guys, for some reason, you just love having the conversations, how peaceful it is. I like how I'm not fighting on the chat. The chat becomes very calm when PMC is around for some reason because he has that aura that is very calm in nature. And I think everyone loved that. And we say, when we have the time, let us do it. And, we've been very consistent at this so far. And I'm so glad that at least we got to meet for chapters. Rob, I need to concentrate. I need to finish my train of thought. Stop making me laugh. Yeah, I need to stop looking at the chat when I'm being serious. Chapter 6, chapter 6, chapter 6. Stop looking at the chat and you know. Oh my goodness, sorry, I needed to like zoom this. Okay, Natecho is saying, "Oh, my best friend, proud mixture." Yes, you know Natecho. Natecho, you see. Yeah, right. And then red, we can discuss that after the guest. We can discuss that before we read that concept that you're talking about. Um, Miss Bailey, let us ask the king of community posts because PMC I think is the one who knows how to use the community post better than probably me. Goga, do you think the small creators should be clear on their community posts? What is the expectation from their audience? That way they can build better relationships. Let us ask PMC because when you go to PMC's, if you ever like don't see any video or live stream from PMC's channel, go to his community posts. Very busy and active.
Well, to be honest with that, I think it's better to have a live stream about that and then let it marinate, right? Because back to the numbers, some videos, some live streams age better than some vlogs or videos, right? I think that's
Yeah.
a discussion to be better had in a live stream because then you could get perspectives in real time. And I think hearing it in the context of a voice is more powerful than a comment, right? In detail. So I think that's something that is a great discussion. If you didn't propose that question, I probably would have talked about it because I've had a lot of YouTube discussions in regards to how to better our channels, what direction could we take without straying away to being true to who we are. Because again, it goes back to what happens when you lose yourself and you drown in your own content. Sometimes Goga, the content produced by some people mirrors their life. Like some content has no direction, no kind of purpose, and you're trying to figure out, okay, what am I watching here? I'm trying to make like what it goes back to the observation thing. I'm trying to piece together how this all connects, right? Because I want cohesion. I want content with cohesion. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay. Okay. PMC, let me just continue. Let me just for that thought because I like your community posts and you are very intentional about them. Even the kind of picture that you use,
Yeah.
um, and even the kind of quote that you use because it's a reflection probably about your state of mind in that particular moment. Um, why have community posts like been your go-to thing like in the past? And I like how they are very affirming and also encouraging to the person who watch them. And somehow YouTube tends to promote them for some because I come across your community post when I open like YouTube and I'm just like, oh, there's PMC has a quote here. Let me go and give it a like or something like that. Or maybe your picture, like the last one I think you did, and you put the two sets of pictures in black and white. I
Right.
was able to see that as well. So, what is that thing what makes you very intentional about your community posts, and why has it been the go-to thing for you, especially in the past since chapter 5?
Well, I space out all my posts from shorts to posts because I try not to over compile the purpose of why I'm posting, and everything I do has a symbolic meaning. It's not about pseudo intellectualism. I'm, grounded. I love to celebrate intelligence because I think so many people disregard it. And everybody here is plenty smart. I would never call nobody stupid. We make stupid decisions, but we're not born stupid. Everybody is plenty smart. I just don't think everybody utilizes their intelligence to the scale that they could. And so what inspires me to keep posting those is verbal acrobatics, Goga. It's celebrating vernacular. I love words, man. And one of the things that my father taught us too is that, man, words are powerful. Just know how to use them, when to use them, and who to use them towards. Because I've had some folks fit the identity of those posts, and it wasn't a good thing. Because, like I tell them, I said in one of my poems, I see life as two things. One is a mosaic, and the other a maze, going back to Mr. Shadow's question about art earlier. Your life is
Yeah.
artistic, but art can be light and dark. And I like to experience both because you can't have one without the other. And some of those people who comment on those posts, would have to digest that because it's so many narratives in my poetry, and some of that references them. You know, I did a poem describing somebody, and they don't talk to me no more because of it. They felt judged when my observation was piecing them to who they deny their audience. And one thing we don't have a right to do is deny our audience who we truly are. Because what's the purpose of rolling a camera lens if you're going to lie about everything you say from the appearance that you present? This is what separates content creators versus who we really are behind the moniker. Who is Yoga Wagoga? Question mark. Right? Do we really know the guy that we're connecting to? What is his purpose? Does he have a motive? Does he have an agenda? Who is PMC? And again, I would never say to someone, you're a nobody because everybody exists for a reason. So that's disrespectful. People will say, well, you nobody, your opinion doesn't matter. And I would never say that to nobody because I had a supporter no longer support me because her take on what I was saying was everybody don't have something important to say. And I thought that was distasteful because I'm like, you don't have a right to say that. What if somebody intended to strip you of your voice? Then you'd say that was distasteful. So, you know, we got to think before we speak, man.
The art of discernment, everyone. Choosing your battles, choosing your people, choosing your spaces, choosing your message. I'm even thinking of the message angle here because that is still discernment. What is the message that you're trying to put out? What's that message that you're trying to put out there in the world? Because that is discernment. That is also discernment. What aligns with your values? What aligns with your content direction? That is still part of discernment. What you choose to share, what boundaries are you going to enforce? That is still part of discernment. And that's the conversation we are having around discernment. And you can see, guys, that natural progression of the chapters from chapter 1 through 5. PMC and I have had a conversation on mental toughness. We've had a conversation around when community becomes like technically family. We've had a conversation around the YouTube partner program that he stepped away from. A myriad of conversations there. We've talked about authenticity as a creator through the ebbs and flows. And authenticity was authenticity was one of the most popular topics PMC when we discussed it during that chapter. It shows how people are so interested in terms of that aspect of authenticity. And today we talk about discernment because it helps you now project it helps you at least now understand the dynamics when it comes to the creator space and the environment that you're operating in. When I go back to that poll that I put up on the chat, let me give PMC the preliminary results that I'm seeing on that chart. In that poll, I asked you guys, what does discernment look like to you? 49% of you said knowing when to speak. 22% of you said knowing when to listen. 12% of you said knowing when to leave. 17% of you said knowing who to keep close. So 49% knowing when to speak. It's speaking volumes now that is stuck at 50% from the beginning out of over 40 votes. Over 40 votes. So knowing when to speak, of course, because you do have a voice, especially on this YouTube platform. And your voice, I think, is the most visible aspect of your content creator journey on this particular platform. And that tells you how it exercise. You have to exercise a lot of discernment, even in terms of the conversations you have. PMC, just some few reflections before we do the rapid fire questions, and then we can release you. When it comes to if you could leave every creator who has been listening to this conversation so far with one principle about discernment, what will that principle be?
Factor in everything that Paul has to offer, because you could minus the leaving part, because leaving sometimes can be a form of abandonment, and if you abandon something that really needs to be addressed, then that's an irresponsible way about going about it. And this is just my opinion, because we can agree to disagree, but I just feel like some things are, or what do they say, some things are better left unsaid. But I feel like every voice has a superpower. Use it as much as you can, Goga, because we don't know one day to the next If I, it's like learning something from Brother Juba. Life is precious.
Yeah.
Do we always value it? You know, life is a gift, but we don't always wrap it nice. That's the purest gift that we have coming out of our mother's stomach, being a gift to somebody. I had two of my supporters say to me, the day you were born, the world became a better place. That made me tear up. And I don't cry much, but that was a beautiful comment because I don't know them from Adam. But you know, it's like get to know people before you really crucify them. And you know, that's one thing that has to stop on this platform, man. Like when you talked about the bullying thing with Lexi, when adult bullying is a thing, and these times, the world is getting worse around us. We don't need to further divide. And I've always said, Goga, as long as you supporting me, I'm trying to liberate, but that I also have to respect and understand. Some people honestly don't want to be united, brother. Some people like division. I mean, the drama is sexy. That's what people get paid for. People write stories every day to ruin the lives of others, and they don't think none of it. So it's just I don't have all the answers. But as I said in the previous Sunday service episodes, I've learned a lot in the spaces between them. That's why I'm honored to do this annual thing. And thanks again for having me as a guest, because you could have somebody else up here in place of me, but you could see if you even, you know, with the conversation here, if you go back and ever replay the Sunday services that you've done with me, you could also see growth inside yourself from the line of your questioning to how you conduct your mannerisms. That's for me too. Like the clothes we wear don't define who we are as people, but it does throw some pizzazz on our conversation a little bit.
And I love that. Like you know, we have not been the same ever since we started the Sunday service segment, and it's
Yeah,
also I mean, and you have also been very clear. You know, you're also very selective in terms of the collaborations that you get involved in. So I'm so honored that at least this is the one platform that you've always felt comfortable returning to,
right.
at least year in, year out. And also that's a very great, like for me, I think that's a very, because I really respect you a lot, not just as a brother, but also just as an individual. And it shows a lot, even based on the you know, just looking at the quality of questions and the engagement that you are getting in this conversation. That already tells you how it's a very important conversation we needed to have. And you know, the Sunday service is always happy to host you for chapter 7, chapter 8. Who knows? We'll see. We'll tell. And I like how you said, I think it was in chapter 4 where you said, we'll see how far this chapter goes. You know, we'll see how far this chapters go. So every year we just keep experimenting and we see how they go. All right. Somebody is fighting with night. I think Rob is fighting with Nightbot on the chat. Okay. But I like that. One must know the definition of the word. Absolutely. Discernment, of course, one of the things. And as you say, it's an art. It's an art. It's an art. It's not like just the way PMC said it earlier. It's not something that it comes as a result of experience, and you learn how to just be very discerning when it comes to certain things as a creator. Which takes me to the next, like, final questions around reflection. When it comes to like life lessons, what is the one life lesson that no book, no video, no mentor, no documentary could have prepared you for?
Appreciate existing more. If you didn't exist, you couldn't get opportunity. And you won't find that in a book. One thing I tell people is, can you tell me something that you didn't get off your phone? Because I think society is trapped in devices to the point where any perspective they give, do you feel like it's authentic, or do you feel like it's manufactured? Because you could talk to somebody right now, Goga, and you could tell if I was rehearsing what I genuinely feel. You'd be like, well, PMC's getting his answers off of Chat GPT.
Exactly. You can actually tell, by the way.
But that's what I'm saying though. The things that you won't find on any, like when I do my poetry, for example, you won't find none of that stuff in Google. That's coming from my heart. And I never give my time to something that I genuinely don't intend on putting in. Like anything I engage in, I give 100%, the best of my ability. And like I tell everybody, when you're doing this as a content creator, just a suggestion, right? Don't lose yourself. creating content, and ask yourself, are you content with the content you create?
Are you content with the content that you create? Guys, did you see the poetry in that statement? Are you content in the content that you create? I love that. I love that poetic, the poetic play to the statement. When people remember PMC years from now, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, who knows? What is that one thing you hope they remember? Not just about your content, but just you and your character and your essence as PMC.
Just a man you'll never know, but you knew him. Because I always say, you'll never see the PMC I see, and that's regarding my privacy. We all have it, but sometimes we forget it. That's why we share everything with the world, and there's a consequence behind that. How many things have you posted and then you later felt, yeah, I do regret that, even if you didn't get because I've had posts where I took them down, I deleted them, and I was like, maybe my immaturity posted that, and there's no excuses. I felt enraged at times, and I'm like, let me post this. And I've gotten people that have said to me, sometimes, man, those quotes can hurt a bit, and it's not me trying to attack nobody, brother, but I'm only gonna post what I feel. I have a right to
Yeah,
do so as every other content. I don't consider myself a content creator, but for everybody who is that, they have a right to post and take down whatever they may. I just think sometimes, like what Miss Bailey was talking about earlier, our emotions, right? Sometimes our emotions get in a way, and then we post out of emotion, and then it's kind of like, that just made things worse. So, like the things that I told you in the previous Sunday service, I just hope that any encouragement I gave or inspiration in the best way possible that was well meant, I just hope it ages well. And if it has the power to change somebody's life, then I can sleep in life and death with that. I'm grateful for it.
I love that. And we are definitely, guys, I'm making a commitment. This week, I'm actually going to, I think PMC has earned it. Before we do chapter 7, you're going to find YouTube has introduced this new feature called shows. So I'm going to create the PMC show with all its episodes in there. So, yeah. I mean, YouTube is always dangling all these new things. If there's one thing I think I saw that they've dangled on my studio right now, is that thing they call shows. So I'm going to create a PMC show so that you guys can now have all the chapters in there. So every time we keep adding something into that chapter, of course, it's going to enrich it. And then you can check out the PMC show for sure. I just love how it's called the PMC show. I've already gotten a name. And then CC says, see you again next year around this time, PMC. I like how she's already made a decision for you. Your annual panel visits are epic. Your annual panel visits are epic. Thanks so much for that. Um, and it's really nice how you've been very consistent at this panel visit. The day they started as a joke, like it wasn't so serious. It was just like chat, nothing much going on. And that's why I really respect you, brother PMC, for what you said, because even I have grown in terms of even how we are talking, in terms of even how I structure my thinking, how I'm like reflecting, listening, maybe paying attention more to something that I need to like
Right.
add next time into the conversation. So there's always like a natural progress, even as a creator. You can never be the same. And I also love that as a host as well. Let me see whether I missed anything on my notes. Actually, I don't have. I think that was the last one on my notes, which was now I have to ask you the rapid fire question. Is there any question on the chat that is burning before? I know we've already hit the 3 hour mark. I think this is the longest time PMC has ever stayed at the Sunday service. Is there any question that somebody has missed that I may have missed on the chat? Any of the mods, Rob, somebody, Kisha, did I miss anything? Just in case. Let me check. I don't think I missed anything. I mean, this chat has been very. Anytime PMC comes, I can keep up with the chat. It's like very nice and slow and nice because you are there, but you're not like typing a lot of things. So I can keep up. All right. Classic is laughing on the. Thanks so much, Classic, for the heart. I really appreciate that. Right. Like I don't say anything there. So I will ask my rapid fire questions, which are these are new segment we added PMC into the Sunday service for the
Okay.
Sunday service guests. So there may be one word, or in case you need to expound, it's entirely your judgment as the co-host.
Okay.
Um, so I'm going to ask you three categories of the rapid fire questions.
All right.
So the first category is this or that. And then the second category is going to be completing a sentence, just a random sentence. But I love your wisdom and the philosopher brain. So I know you're going to like just literally this is going to be like easy. And then of course we're going to finish strong by asking you the three final questions just to like wrap up chapter 6. So the first segment, coffee or tea?
T.
Tea. Oh yeah, you're a tea. Yeah, you're a tea boy. Yeah. Sunrise or sunset?
Sunset.
Sunset. Ooh. Why? Any particular reasons? Just curious.
Romance reasons.
Ooh. Keep giving us receipts. Giving me receipts at the end of the Sunday service. Okay. City life or country life?
Country life.
Of course, of course, of course. The farmer in you. Let's see. Silence or music?
Music.
Music, of course, music. Of course, you love this. I'm going to put you in a dilemma. Martial arts or farming?
Both. I can't do one over the other, man. Both.
It was very deliberate, and I was doing the notes. I said I'm going to just give you a dilemma. Okay. I know you've talked about okra, and I know David Dant is in church, but he's busy peeping, listening. Fried okra, because I know you talked about fried okra. Fried okra or your second favorite meal?
My second favorite meal.
Which is?
My second favorite meal has to be tacos. Tacos.
Of course. Oh, all the way from Puerto Rico. What do you expect? Mountains or the ocean?
The ocean.
Of course, of course. Morning person or night owl?
Morning person.
Morning person. Okay, I've seen you do your life things very early in the morning for sure. So you're definitely a morning person. Rob is like saying, "Goga, that was a trick question, even you." I'm like, I know. It was intentional to like get confused PMC. Okay. Now the second segment is on you completing like a few sentences.
Okay.
The first one is I feel most at peace when.
I'm alone.
Oh, wow. PMC, you and I share that thing. Oh, yeah, so okay, that's a good one. The older I get, the more I.
Experience life.
Ooh, okay. One lesson that life keeps teaching me is.
You're never too old to get old.
And guys, do you know PMC never had these questions? Because he doesn't read them like he had them somewhere on a list. Okay. I have three more in this category. I wish more people understood
that we could all get along.
And all right. Second last question. The best advice I've ever received was
be yourself.
Ooh. Nice one. That's a nice one. That's a nice one. I'm even getting. Why am I so invested in these answers? Last one. My greatest teacher has been
my father.
God rest his soul. Now, the last segment, which is the finishing strong segment, just to like wrap up PMC before we give you an opportunity to sign off. In one sentence, who is Proud Mixture the Lion King?
One of God's many sons.
Ooh. What do you hope people remember long after the live stream has ended?
That I tried my best to preserve God's green earth.
What is the one question that you've never been asked, but you wish somebody asked?
Who am I other than what I can do?
Ooh, Okay. And then, due to public demand, somebody has just sent me an inbox a message that I've been told to ask due to public demand. Has fried okra retained its championship belt, or has another food finally taken the crown?
Something else has taken the crown.
What is it, PMC? This person knew that you had changed.
Another fish. I'll just say another fish. Okra is out, man.
Ouch! Ouch! This the person who sent me this question, you are tricking me. Why did I even decide to like read my messages and ask this question? Clearly, I was being tricked. David, even if you say use ninjas to send me messages, I can tell you are the one who sent me that message. All right. And then Miss Bailey just decided to ask me questions there. If you could have a superpower, where would you teleport to, PMC?
The Pacific Ring of Fire.
Ooh, okay. How, Miss Bailey, why are you busy asking me this question? I'm the one who was asking the question. Oh, yes, the rapid fire question, Miss Bailey. How long has PMC been growing his hair into locks?
Since mid 2019.
Okay, I think you got your answer. Yeah, PMC's locks are their own personality, and yeah, I think in the previous chapters, he has been the locks have been a very strong subject of questioning. Yeah, but I like how nobody has asked about them today until when you are finishing up. So I like that. Professor Green says great critical thinking skills. It's amazing how it's so natural. PMC is such a it's always amazing to listen. You need to go to his live stream. So you'll just be there just like wowing when he's on how he's being asked random questions by people, and he's just like answering like he had like a script or something like that. So yeah, that is definitely him. Okay. Yeah, this last question, I know, Cece, this last question, PMC. I don't know. We need to investigate what fish took over the fried okra. But anyway, we leave that for chapter 7. We leave that for chapter 7 for sure. Okay. What will be your last meal and last words if you had a conscious choice?
My last meal will be bread. And my last words will be, I hope that you're happy with what I've tried to do for you for allowing me to be here.
Well, Sister, I hope you got your answer. This is also great interest. Sister, I'm sure you're connected to PMC because you love PMC because you're also in the spiritual space and stuff. And then I see Miss Bailey says, wow, this was my first live stream with PMC. Thank you, King. Thank you, King. Thank you, King. Thanks so much for that. Miss Bailey, yes, you need to go follow the other 5 chapters. You will be, I think we are going to create the show. I'm going to create the show tomorrow. By Tuesday, the show will be. I'm going to use PMC's episodes because I need to teach that class. So I'm going to because it's a new feature that was released last week. So I'm going to use PMC as the test case for that show thing. Then they'll be there so that you see how it works. Thank you so much for that. All right, I don't see any burning question on the chat. I'm just seeing compliments, love, and a lot of affirmations and support. And you guys are happy. You're just dropping all these nice emojis. I'm giving you a chance. If you enjoyed these conversations, you have two challenges. Number one, at the end of this live stream, PMC is on my description, and I'm going to drop the link to his channel on the pinned link. So in case you're not yet connected, I'm going to leave that link until the end of the stream, so that those of you are going to connect him up, because I know you guys don't like connection when we are at the Sunday service. So I'm going to put it there, so that when the Sunday service is over, you guys can connect. Let me see that I can pin it. All right, I've pinned it there. I've ended the poll. And then what I'm going to do, there we go. I want you guys to drop some those lion emojis drop those nice lion emojis for me on the chat because I need them for the raid. Wherever when we end the live stream, I'm going to send you on a raid. I need the lion emojis there as a raid. We're going to drop emojis when we go surprise somebody on YouTube with the raid. So drop those nice lion emojis. Those are PMC's favorite emojis. He doesn't do these purple hearts like us. He has like a lion, the lion emoji. Those ones, yes. Good vibes, get that one. That stuff. That stuff. Those lion emojis. Keep dropping those lion emojis. I like Lexi is dropping lion, and I like the crown as well. That looks so good. Yeah, those lion and crown emojis. Please drop them, drop them, drop them, drop them, drop them on the chat if you appreciated this conversation. PMC, the last thing that is left, I'm going to just, of course, in typical Sunday service fashion, I'm going to put solo layout so that you can sign off and then we'll be able to release you. But I just want to say thank you so much. And as you're signing off, in case there's anything that maybe you wanted to just make sure that you emphasize, this is the opportunity to do it. And then we'll be able to release you. And then thank you so much for making chapter 6 what it was. I can't believe that you've stayed for 3 hours. I think this is the longest, as I said, it becomes the longest chapter yet. But this community, I think, appreciates you and your wisdom. And I think this annual hangouts, I think there's a lot of value in them. And, just based on the engagement we've had here, that already should give you like enough assurance that, yes, definitely you met a need in terms of the conversation. I don't know what chapter 7 will be like, but we'll definitely see how it goes. But yes, I'm going to immortalize the PMC show for this week, and you'll definitely have a dedicated show on I don't know if it's going to appear on YouTube, but I will make sure that I send you an email as soon as I put it up so that you can also just like be part of it. I'll also send you a link on the email for the collaboration thing. Just click accept tomorrow, and then it can show you a channel, this new feature that now shows Goga and PMC collaborated. I'll send that tomorrow. Lexi says, my primo was amazing as always. And yes, guys, I was telling you, Lexi and PMC, yes, relatives. Lexi started the month of June. PMC closes the month of June. It was a match made in heaven. It was a match made in heaven. It was meant to happen. So I'm going to let PMC have the screen. And then Lexi called him Primo. Channel has a wealth of information, and we love. Yes. Lexi explained, and that's why. I met Lexi over at PMC. I never knew Lexi, and then one day I think PMC was doing a live stream, and then I met Lexi. I met Lexi at PMC, and then I went and started watching Lexi's videos. I was like sold. I was like, oh my god, this lady, I love her, and we were able to organize because she was speaking my language. She was speaking things I want to like people to hear. And then I was able to now reach out to Lexi, and we planned a collaboration. And then it happened. It just happened to have been in the same month. And Lexi explained it very nicely that both her and PMC were bookends to the month of June. So that's why she started, and then PMC is closing out the month of June. So it was a match, and it was perfect. And I'm glad that at least this conversation happened. So PMC, over to you. Let me put you on solo layout as you do your outro, and then we can release. There you go.
Well, you guys know I don't like to keep it any longer. Just remember, on this journey, be yourself. Reflect on this conversation from question to answer. I don't have all the answers. Maybe when you see me in chapter 7, if I'm still here, God willing, we'll just keep the wisdom train going, because we can all learn from one another. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for this opportunity, brother. I'm honored to appear again and be the most requested person to join, because you've had a lot of greater Sunday services than mine. And that's just me being modest, because you can learn something from every single guest that ever has appeared up here, from subscriber to content creator, right? But wherever they are and wherever you guys intend to go, I hope you thrive, and just stay true to yourself throughout this. Don't lose yourself. Stay humble. Go chase success, but don't let it change you. So that's pretty much all I got.
Amen. Thank you so much for that famous last words, chapter 6. Yeah. Thank you so much, PMC. I really appreciate your support, and it was such an honor having you. Of course, I wish I could keep you longer, but again, I think the message is home, and I think you unpacked it very well, as always, in your usual conduct. May you have an amazing rest of the day. Please say hi to the missus on my behalf, and I really appreciate you just spending time off your busy schedule on a Sunday just to be hanging out with us, and also on your vacation. See you around, PMC. All
Peace and
right.
love, brother. Thanks for having me up here. Take care, everybody.
Always. Okay, and the lion is out of the building. Keep your problems smaller than your life. A flat tire is a flat tire. A bad meeting is a bad meeting. A cancelled flight is just an extra 2 hours. These things become catastrophes when you let them, but they stay manageable when you remember the depth of your real life, the people you love, the work you care about, the beautiful years still ahead. Zoom out, fit your reaction to the size of the problem.